Whatever. Morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Fantastic to be here with you today, which is opposite day. Officially, today is opposite day. So, everything is great. It's not bad now. Life is pretty good. I have really no complaints. I hated opposite day when I was a little kid. Hated it. So stupid. But it is officially today. So
you hate opposite day
it's
as a
just
kid?
stupid. It was just it's opposite day. All right. I get it. This is just one of those lame kid things that you did when you were a kid. And it's terrible. Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Let's try to get our heads right. It's been a slow week, so thanks for hanging in with us. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, is here as well. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. Whatever says
whatever.
Barry White.
Yeah.
Which could be like our show motto.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. It could be what we're talking about. It could be how we're feeling.
Yeah.
It's whatever in the morning.
Whatever. He sings it a little bit sexier than that, though. He says, whatever.
And
I'll do.
We are a little bit sexier than that.
That is true.
So there you go.
Benny has a fresh white hat on this morning. It says prestigious on it. Is that your new brand?
They're my guys.
The Ben
apparently
Higgins
now.
brand.
Well, you brought one of their hats in. I had a gray one, which I wear a ton. I love their logo. They are a turf care and maintenance company, local, and I was at the Farmers Insurance Open yesterday. And I have to say, love being out there. I was with one of our photographers at Channel 10, Jimmy, and we decided to set up our live shot for the 4 o'clock show right along the 18th fairway there, where, people are kind of walking by. South course, 18th hole, where the grandstands on the opposite side, though, kind of where the entrance and exit is.
Yep.
It was a good spot. But I didn't realize how much foot traffic there was.
People walking by, giving you the finger and stuff.
And I thought we were on in the first block. We were on the start of the second block of the show. So we were standing there for like 15 minutes. And literally every 20 seconds, another tier one comes by and says, hey, Ben. Jimmy was going, what is going on? You're like
Elvis
Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game here. This is nuts. And the prestigious guys walk by and go, oh, we need to get him a hat. I go, guys, I already have a hat. You've seen me wear it a ton of times. He goes, well, I got another one here. So they gave me another hat. So thanks to those guys.
And guess who gets free lawn and turf care now? Benjamin Higgins.
I don't really have much of a lawn, but if I ever did, I know who my guys would be. And then, tier one after tier one. And
That's awesome.
I'm starting to, I'm not getting annoyed. It's great. I love when you come by. But I am
boy.
I'm getting 3 minutes in my ear, and can we do a sound check? And
yeah, you're working.
Another person kind of comes by, and I'm kind of and I go, wait, hi, Mark Loretta. How are you?
No.
So I stop and I talk to him and asked him about the championship game at Fantasy Camp, the low ride and mud flaps, the tournament champions. Got the dub.
Worst to first.
He was very proud of that. Seemed like he was very excited. And then he walks away, and I'm trying to do a sound check, and I go, hey, Ben. And it's like, oh, hi, Eric Grupner. How are you?
Oh, my God. Look at him. All right. So we've got Plugola. We've got name dropping left and right. And I'm too busy for the common folk. I will make time for Mark Loretta and Eric Kruger.
How did you fit through the door with that
I
big
know. It was kind of crazy out there yesterday.
All right. So can I recommend something to you for?
Yeah.
When's the next time you're going out?
Saturday?
Possibly
today. I'm definitely going Saturday for the awards ceremony. I have not received my assignment for today and whether or not we're doing lives or not. So
get you about 4 dozen of your photos. Sign them in the car and just say, hey, there you go. Hey, there you go. Hey, there you go. Hey, there you go. And just hand them out. And also, if you're a tier one out there and you hear this conversation, logic would say, ooh, maybe I shouldn't bother him. Woodsy is going to tell you bother him more. More tier ones go say hello.
Kiss him on the lips.
Kiss him on the lips. Grab his butt. Squeeze his butt cheeks. He's not going to get mad. You are something else.
Tim says, Ben is look at me Louie this morning.
Look at you. God dang. Feels good to be...
Ben actually loves to rage, so just grab a beer and just dump it on his head.
Yeah,
party.
Make the shotgun a beer.
Yeah.
Roman says he's going to kiss your neck if he sees you. Yeah, just out there. Now, when you do live shots, any fear of like remember the guy a few years ago?
Every single time.
Okay, the guy that does
Every
the
single time.
F
Live shot crashers.
blank her
Yeah,
in the
we
blank.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
or
know?
variations, whatever. I've heard, as a TV person, we are taught
What's
to
the
try
worst
to be
thing?
aware.
What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you on a live
He
show?
got hit by a car.
Yeah, well, that's probably the worst.
Second worst thing that nobody knows about.
I've had,
Oh yeah, that no one knows. about.
drunk people generally.
I do remember on an opening day once,
Come
you're like,
up
it was
and-
pretty
Yes.
bad.
Like-
Remember that? It was
Yeah.
like
I wonder if I have
our
that.
first
And
show.
most of the time they're harmless. It's just they want to.
Yeah.
How's it going? Go
I
Padres.
wonder if I have that.
Somebody said do the Stewie to Lois bit, but Benny. We also call that the Bo and the Taylor in my
Mama.
house. Dad. Repeating sons of bitches, both of them. Holy cow. I love it. Well, it's nice. Nice to know that you have people out there that want to say hello, and obviously some big names out there as well.
I know that if you were out there holding a microphone, you would be just as popular.
I don't think so. I
think you would.
More also, well, maybe, but also more apt to get stabbed by a prison shank made out of an old shampoo bottle that they,
Because it gets through the
Rub
metal
together.
detectors
Yeah.
at the tournament. You can
An
get that
old-
shampoo bottle
old
through. Yeah.
Pert Plus bottle that the guy's been sitting in his cell just working on for months, and then comes up and gently shanks me.
The things you learned behind bars.
I watch a lot of television too, but I love that. I love that you got to go out there. Did you have fun watching the golf?
I did not get to watch a ton of the golf. I was mostly editing my highlights when
Yeah.
I was there.
It's a lot of work.
They have it on television in the media center, so I was able to watch some of the golf
Ooh, tell me-
on the monitor, but I didn't actually get to walk around the course much as I was doing work the whole time.
Tell me about. I popped into the media center. I did it when the U.S. Open was here. Now that was a little different. How is the spread? Is it nice in there?
It's
'Cause
a
pretty
fairly
cool.
plush media center. Yeah,
They do
it's
pretty
in,
well there.
It's in the ballroom, kind of along the 18th fairway at
Yeah.
the Hilton Hotel. So you walk in, and they have the rows of tables, workstations where
Yep.
you can set up your laptop. And
Charge
they got
your phone.
They got a big scoreboard up that kind of goes hole by hole of like the top 10 golfers and how they're playing, and then a big screen on the other side that's playing the television broadcast, so you can watch and monitor what's going on. There's usually some sort of food spread with coffees and waters and sodas and snacks that you can go grab. So it's a nice place to actually sit and monitor the golf and get some work done. I ran into Jim Trotter, came up and said hello. He was doing a piece in The Athletic on Michael Kim yesterday, and he said hello. He looks great. He's
always
training for a
looks good.
5K, though. He looks really
Wait,
good.
Hold on. A 5K?
It's like to raise. He hates running. He's like me. He hates running.
Because he
but
looks like he runs a 5K every day.
But he doesn't.
Right.
He says like running's my least favorite thing. But it's for what is it for? He's trying to raise awareness / money for some good cause. So he's doing a 5K that he's working on. But he looks great. It was good to see him. Said hello. Saw our friend Bernie Wilson, a few other members of the local media, all my other TV brethren, Darnay, Julian. The gamut, the works, they were all there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Hacksaw out there?
Did not see Hacksaw.
Probably didn't get a credential.
No,
Would be my guess. Yeah.
I don't think so. But it was good first day. And,
Sucks to suck, I guess.
And good tournament. You got some big names on the leaderboard, like Patrick Cantlay is one stroke back. He played
that's
the
a
North
bad name.
Course.
Patrick Cantlay.
You want to talk about bad names in sports?
That could have been a nickname in high school for some guys I know.
Xander Shoffley.
Cantlay.
We already talked about what I got called yesterday.
Ben Gay. Which is the worst nickname, Ben Gay or Ben Cantlay? What's worse?
It'd be a worse nickname. If that's your name,
You don't have a choice.
That's your name.
That's your name. You just have to wear. Yeah, you're right. I can't lay.
If your name is Ben Higgins and
They
kids
call
in high
you-
school are like, oh, here comes Can't Lay Higgins. Like,
Sucks.
That
dude.
sucks.
That's a tough one, man. That is a tough look. Did you see? Speaking of Cantlay, did you see my wife's tweet yesterday?
I did not.
Did you see it, Paulie?
No.
You didn't. You guys didn't see this tweet?
Wait.
About what I did in
My
our
wife
house?
read it to me. Did it have to do with tuna?
It did have to do with
I
tuna.
did see that one. Yes.
Speaking of, again, can't lay. It's going to be months for me. It's just going to be months.
What did you? So you opened
All
up.
right, so she says, she tweets, at the Stephen Woods just walked into a wall while carrying a bowl of tuna. And now there's tuna everywhere.
Oh,
and
God.
eau de tuna permeating the entire house.
That's French for scent.
Correct. It's a weird, like, why would I be walking through the house with a bowl full of tuna? And it wasn't like sushi grade tuna. This is Star-Kissed
canned
pickles
tuna
cut up,
salad,
little mayo,
Yeah.
little dirt. I put a little Durkees in mine, by the way. You know Durkees sandwich. Oh, we'll talk Durkees later. It's like the hidden secret to
Okay.
any good sandwich or deviled egg or potato salad. But so I mix it up right in the kitchen. I'm going to have a tuna sandwich for lunch. We have 3 cats. I cannot leave anything on a counter.
Cats love
They
tuna.
love
Love tuna.
My cats are scavengers. They will eat anything, and they can jump 25 feet high. Now, could I have put it in the fridge? Yes, I didn't think of it. So I make the bowl of tuna, and I'm engrossed in a book right now. Engrossed. I can't get enough of it. I had about an hour of calm to myself, and I said, I'm going to eat this.
An actual book.
A real book.
Not a Kindle.
Not a Kindle,
like
no,
you're
book.
reading an actual book.
It's next to my bed. It's called My Friend Leonard is the name of the book. And so it's next to my bed, and I start to like make my sandwich, and I go, oh, crap, I left my book in my room. I can't leave the bowl on the table. When I come back, it will be gone because I could see the cats lurking around. So I just thought, well, I'm going to carry this because I'm a grown man. I'm going to carry it into my bedroom, grab the book, and walk back to the kitchen. Well, I open the book, and I'm reading as I'm walking, and I run into a corner of the wall, and the entire bowl of tuna goes boom and lands face down on the floor. Did I eat the tuna? I did. Scraped it up and put it back in the bowl and ate it. That being said,
5-second rule.
I
I don't know that applies to like
tuna.
mayo salady tuna things
Bro,
that land on the floor.
When
but-
I tell you, there was tuna on the ceiling. It hit and I saw it just go, and it's on the walls, it's on the baseboards, everywhere. And I just go, oh, F. And she goes, what? And I go, don't come in here. She walked in, she goes,
Oh, no.
She goes, you've got to be kidding me. And then I go, okay, come on, kitties. Come on, kitties. I scooped up what I could keep. Come on, kitties. And then I go, hey, I'm going to eat this, and then I'll come back and clean it. Knowing full well I didn't have to do a damn thing. Knowing full well she was going to be down there with a toothbrush within 10 seconds.
the cats first will
Cats
take care
first.
of it. Then
She
she'll
got the
take
big
care
part.
of it. Yeah.
She's down there with a toothbrush and a sponge, knowing she's not going to be satisfied with my cleanup of it. She's just going to want to do it herself. And even if I do it, she's going to end up doing it anyway, over it. So I did, and she looked at me. The amount of disgust that she had. Did she tweet something?
No, I was EST said, floor tuna.
Floor tuna. Yeah. Ben, I can't even tell you the look of disgust that she had in her face for me. Like, not only did I run into a wall, it's embarrassing, but I spilled tuna all over the house. A tuna bomb all over my home. And she was none too pleased. But, listen, accidents happen. So, again, back to the can't lay thing. I think it's going to be a while. Could end up being my nickname here before too long.
It's did you see, it was like 2 seasons ago on Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yeah, when he walks into
Larry-
a glass door with, he's dating Lucy Liu.
He's trying to
date Lucy Liu. And they go to a party. And they sit there. He gets up to walk outside.
Earlier, he spills the wine.
He spills wine.
And he blanking on the name, JB Smoove, is like,
Yeah.
that's the first feeble thing.
It's the first feeble thing he
And
did.
he's
And
like,
then
you get 3 strikes.
He
before
runs
puts you
into
in a
this
nursing
glass
home.
door, and he falls back, and he goes, and Lucy Liu is like this.
So
she's looking
turned
down
off.
at him like, oh, God. And then later, he's like, hey, so I thought I might come in for a while. She's like, oh, no, I don't think so. You need to go home and rest. Like, it's so embarrassing. And I'm already older than my wife, so I'm like, oh, dude, this was me. This is feeble ass. She saw that and she was immediately repulsed.
2 feeble things in a row. Wine, and now you walk into a glass. Got 1 more left. I'm gonna drop his ass off at the nursing home.
It was embarrassment. It was shame. And it was knowing, like, she's looking at me like, oh, well, here we go. Here's where it starts, where I'm going to have to start wiping his ass for it. Like, it was terrible, dude. So,
Yeah, there was a fork in the bowl, and it hit the wall and just catapulted the tuna everywhere.
tuna went everywhere, man. I mean, it was everywhere.
Oh,
it was all over the place. So, yeah. And then the house, of course, smells like
reeks.
just reeks of tuna. So I was off to a good start yesterday. While you were out gallivanting and hobnobbing with celebrities, I was at home looking like a feeble idiot in front of my wife. There you go.
All right, that's how we start on a Throwback Thursday. Throwback might be the highlight of the show today. Paulie's corralled a few of our better moments
We've
in
had
the
some
last
good
few
stuff
years.
in the month of
I
January.
mean, holy smokes.
I don't know what we're doing this year, but we've had some good.
We've had some
bits.
good. I mean, we've had some good moments this January too. Explicit. We've had nuts the other day. We have all kinds of good stuff.
We will set everything up, set the menu when we come back. It is great to have you all with us. Thursday morning, it's Ben and Woods. Let's check traffic with Kelly, and then off and running on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Many are saying in the Ben and Woods chat on YouTube, Ben, I probably should have just picked the tuna up and thrown it away and not eaten it, but I was very hungry.
What do you think their reasoning would be?
It's anything. The funniest one is, hey, man, if it's wet food, it's got to go. Dry food, if you drop some cereal or something, pick it up, throw it in, eat it. But wet, anything with a wet consistency that it hits the floor, like I wouldn't, if it was soup, I wouldn't have gotten down and slurped it back up, right? But tuna, it's like a little kind of in the middle.
Paul, I don't think this is groundbreaking territory here. If you drop something that is wet, sticky on
It's
a floor,
more in the middle.
It's going to pick up more of the floor dirt and germs. Then like if you dropped a Skittle on the floor and you picked it right up, wipe it off a little bit, you eat it. But tuna, you can't wipe off tuna salad. Like, I'll just dust it off, and I'm sure it's fine. No, everything that was on the floor, even I'm sure your floor is quite clean, thanks to Hannah Nancaro.
It's true.
It's still going to be the area where you walk on constantly.
And we have cats.
And you have cats
and
that walk on it, and a dog
and
that
two
walks
children,
on it.
and doo-doo everywhere all the time.
So it's going to pick up whatever has been stepped on that area of the floor and
I think
stick
maybe
right to it.
I think maybe in hindsight, I probably just should have cashed in my chips, gone in. It's not like it was my last can of tuna either. I had plenty of tuna. But I was hungry as hell, man, and I just scooped it back up and went in and ate it.
What's this sandwich hack you were going to share with me? Because now I'm curious.
Have you so Caitlin asked me what I put in the tuna fish. So I take a little bit of mayo, just a little, boop, and then I add mine is special white pepper. Okay, a little white pepper in there, and then I have a little bit of squirt of a sauce called Durkee's. Have you ever heard of Durkee's?
I've never
Look
heard
it
of
up.
Durkee's.
Look up Durkee's.
They're like turkey, but with a D?
Have you ever... Yes, like turkeys with a D. Like your name is like men, except with a B.
Durkee.
Yeah.
Durkee's famous sandwich and salad sauce.
Have you guys ever heard of Durkee's?
I've never heard of this before.
I've heard of it. I don't think
The
I've
next
never had
time...
it.
Do you eat ham?
I mean, I
Easter and
sometimes
stuff?
eat ham, holiday ham.
The next time you have a ham or turkey sandwich at home for the holidays, get you some Durkee's.
Looks like Chick-fil-A sauce.
It's better.
Okay.
And Chick-fil-A sauce is good.
Yeah.
This is better. It's got a little bit more...
Kind of a creamy, mustardy looking sort of
but
thing.
But it's got a little... like I want to say there might be a hint of horseradish in there.
Okay.
A hint. So I put it in deviled eggs. You put it in potato salad. Durkee's, in my opinion, is the most underrated sauce that's out there. Try it on a sandwich. Try it on almost anything.
The popular tangy sandwich spread has been around for over 100 years. It was even served in the Lincoln White House.
Look at that.
Abraham Lincoln in his top hat when he had his tuna salad.
So you know it's good.
There was Durkee's in it.
I did not know that it was that old.
Tangy mustard mayonnaise flavor.
So good. You'll like it.
You
don't like mayo.
I don't, but I like Chick-fil-A sauce.
It doesn't
which
taste
definitely
very
has
mayo-y.
probably a little mayo in it, I'm sure.
So try Durkee's.
Okay.
It's really, really good, and that's what went in there.
Durkee's.
Yeah.
It's like turkeys, but with a D.
And an extra E at the end without the Y.
My name's like Leave, except with an S at the like Steve. We're having a hard time at home right now. Bo's a very smart kid, but we're working on rhyming. And he doesn't get the concept of rhyming. But what rhymes with 10? He goes, tick. I go, nope. How do you
alliteration down.
How do you explain?
Rhyming, not quite.
It's hard. And I'm like, try again. He's like, tick, tick, tick. He can't. It's not jiving with his head right now. So that's what we've been working on at home is the rhyming. You would be a great teacher at it.
Yeah.
Durkee's like turkeys.
That was the other, Ben rhymes with hen.
Yeah.
Which isn't great either when you're in elementary school.
They called you a hen?
Ben, the big fat hen. Everyone has, I
don't think I had one.
Steve doesn't rhyme with a
doesn't
lot.
rhyme with anything. Leave. Oh, there's leaving Steven.
Steve, I wish you'd leave.
That's right. Something like that.
Paul, does that rhyme with anything? Fall.
Paul. Let's ask Bo what rhymes with Paul. Mike. TV, orange. This poor kid's just grinding on this thing right now, man. He's such a diligent student. It's killing him. It's absolutely killing him right now. So, oh, man, that's funny.
Oh.
Ben, the big fat hen, by the way.
I've heard it.
Oh, no.
I have heard it.
JR says, did Ben go to school in the 1920s? See, look at Ben, big fat hen. 2 bits, man. Unbelievable.
Oh, well, let's see. If you may have heard that
Such a horrific childhood you had. Look who's coming. It's Ben, the big fat hen. Yes, if you do see him at the Farmers, give him a big hug. He needs one desperately.
I didn't go to school with gangsters.
Ben, the big fat hen.
Chicago mobsters. It's not my classmates.
Incredible. Holy cow, dude.
All right. Well, as you may have heard, I believe one of the head coaching vacancies in the NFL
I was waiting for this.
filled
Man.
yesterday. I heard a couple of people kept saying, "Did you hear? Did you hear?" When I was at the Farmers yesterday, and it was, no, it pops up on all the social feeds when a move like that is made. So obviously, we can talk a little bit about that coming up. It's a Throwback Thursday, as I mentioned. Paulie's got some good content from the archives, the history of Ben and Woods the last few years. This week, January, in years past. We'll play Real or Fake on a Throwback Thursday, chance to qualify a non-musically inclined listener, if you want, for a trip to Las Vegas coming up in our 7 o'clock hour. Regular features don't do this. I think this is the first day. It's been a very quiet hot stove league.
Oh, don't say it.
But I think this is the first day there was literally, I don't think there was anything.
I thought you were about to say, I feel like today's the day it's going to heat up.
Like nothing yesterday. I mean, there was always like a tiny something everywhere.
You're like, oh, John Brebbia signed. There was something like.
I don't know that I saw a single thing happen yesterday. You feel like it's got to start heating up at some point, but it remains quite cold. But the Padres are getting a day closer to reporting to spring training, so we'll see if anything happens this morning. It's all coming up. Doobie Brothers concert tickets to give away as well. There's your menu. We'll get it started coming up next with Jim Harbaugh officially returning to the National Football League. Will this save that franchise that used to play here? It's coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I can't get away from it, and it kind of makes me want to puke, Woods. I mean, we just heard Boomer Esiason talking about Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers.
Yeah. It's big news.
I log on to ESPN. Why this makes sense for both teams. Stephen A., smart move by the Chargers. LA Times, bolt of brilliance from the Chargers. Even in our local paper, why a franchise-changing moment for the Los Angeles Chargers. And really, it's
no surprise there, yeah.
It's
This
very...
is a big day for the local paper.
It's very...
huge day.
It makes me kind of queasy to see all of it.
I thought about you yesterday when the news came down. You know, born and raised here, Charger fan, huge Charger fan. And, you know, obviously, anytime something ends the way that it ends, like that, it's never going to be a good feeling. Many have stayed on the path and said, I can't stand, and a lot of people say, I can't stand the owner, but I love the players. And I do understand that. This is a brand I grew up rooting for. I'm not from here. I don't really even have an NFL team that I root for.
How many players even actually played in San Diego?
Not
Keenan
many.
Allen?
Keenan Allen maybe.
Bosa for a year?
A year or two, yeah. So, listen, but it's the logo, right? It's the laundry. There's so many different factions of the Charger consumer right now. You know, we kind of made it a point, I think, when we started our show, like, yeah, I mean, if we'll mention big news that happens with them like we would with the Browns or like we would with the Miami Dolphins.
We'll preview a playoff game
Absolutely.
just like any of the other 5 playoff games that weekend.
That hasn't been a problem. We haven't really needed to cover
and then we'll
them.
celebrate when they blow a whatever massive lead like they did to the Jaguars.
So I just, if I take myself just out of it and look at it 30,000 feet, I'm elated. I'm elated because it brings the Michigan football program down. And I do not like Michigan, and that's well established. So when Jim Harbaugh left Michigan, I was like, oh, fantastic. He's going to. I'm just interested to see what. I'm interested to see if that Spanos curse is in fact real. 5-year deal for Jim Harbaugh. Have the terms been released as far as money goes? It's going to be exorbitant.
I promise you, it's probably anywhere 5 to 10 times more than the Chargers have ever paid a coach.
I would say
in the history of their franchise.
Well, and I think he was in that position yesterday when they told the story of how he was supposed to interview today with the Falcons again, and the Chargers weren't going to let him out of the building. That's when, if you're Jim Harbaugh, you're like, all right, I want a house. I want this built. I want that done. I mean, that's when you just start throwing stuff.
He wrote his ticket.
Wrote his ticket. So you can't blame him
personnel
for doing it.
control, say so on whoever the GM is. I'm sure he got everything he wanted in this deal.
Sure. Yeah.
I pride myself though on being a rational sports fan, and even for a team that I don't like now, I want to be as unbiased as possible. So if you're looking to me this morning to be the guy who tells you that everybody out there is wrong and this was not the smart move that everyone thinks it is, and that Jim Harbaugh is not going to be the be-all, end-all with the Bolts, you've come to the right place, because that's exactly what I'm going to do after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
That surprised the hell out of me. You can still do it after all these years.
The Fan Traffic Center. Here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by San Diego Imperial Valley high-intensity drug trafficking areas. Traffic alert remains in effect. South 5 coastline past Del Mar Heights Road. 2 right lanes are blocked, all due to a fatal collision that happened around 4:15 this morning, in which a pickup truck rear-ended a semi that was over to the right shoulder. So, yes, investigation continues on that, and we'll let you know when that reopens. South 5 past Del Mar Heights Road, 2 right lanes blocked. Also in the North County, collision on southbound 15 before Deer Springs Road. A couple cars involved in this one. They're in the center divide. Did you know fentanyl is being sold on social media disguised to look like prescription medications? If it doesn't come from a doctor or pharmacist, then it likely contains fentanyl. Talk to your kids today before it's too late. Get the conversation started at thetimeiSnow.sd.org. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Jim Harbaugh undoubtedly has a very impressive track record of winning wherever he's been as coach, starting at USD, just down the street in 2006, was a program that had never done much, consistently a winner under Jim Harbaugh, went to Stanford, turned them around after a couple of seasons into a double-digit win team. 4 years with the 49ers, got to a Super Bowl, a couple of conference championship games, a team that hadn't done well, and then takes over for Brady Hoke at Michigan, turns them into a consistent 10-win team, and eventually gets them over the hump past Ohio State and, of course, to a national championship. So the track record is absolutely there, and I think, Jim Harbaugh obviously has some sort of idea of what he is doing as a head coach, and players have responded to him fairly well over the years. The one thing that Jim Harbaugh cannot change, though, no matter how good of a coach he is the reality of what it takes to be successful in the NFL. And it's a game of acquiring talent, yes, and maybe he can help out a little bit when it comes to identifying the kind of players that he wants to join the Chargers. But he's still going to have to deal with a salary cap, like every other team. One that is, right now, I believe the Chargers are 40 to 50 million over that cap. Right now, with aging players like Keenan Allen, who are very expensive and getting older, and some very tough decisions to make. He's taken over a team that went 5-12 last year, which is not exactly on the cusp of, overcoming the Kansas City Chiefs in a very tough division. That Patrick Mahomes is not going anywhere over the years. So will Jim Harbaugh probably help the Chargers win more games? Yeah, of course. You can't really win very many less games than the Chargers have been winning over the last few years. Here's the thing, though. The object of the game is to win games, but they're really trying to win hearts and minds and fans in Los Angeles, in a city that hasn't cared about them at all. And I would contend that even if Jim Harbaugh does start having some moderate success, I don't see fans flocking to that franchise. To me, and maybe I'm wrong, Jim Harbaugh is kind of the villain. Jim Harbaugh's fun to cheer against, and I will continue to cheer against the Chargers and probably enjoy it even more with Jim Harbaugh as the head coach. And I would think that anyone who's not a Chargers fan right now, getting Jim Harbaugh doesn't make you a Chargers fan. It makes you an even deeper Chargers kind of hater right now. Like, they're a more fun team, clearly, with him. They're a more fun team to root against.
He's a damn good football coach.
Not root for, though.
Yeah, I disagree.
And winning does heal.
So is Bill Belichick, but he's not fun to cheer for. I don't
know. He is
know.
if he's your coach.
He's your guy.
But he's no one's. The Chargers don't have any fans. So
I think
if you're a Charger fan already, you're absolutely through the moon elated by this hire. If you're not a Chargers fan, though, does Jim Harbaugh make you a Chargers fan? Do you like Jim Harbaugh that much that all of a sudden everything else that you didn't like about that franchise, it just goes out the window? It's like, oh, now they've got Jim Harbaugh, I have to cheer for that team. I don't think Jim Harbaugh's that guy.
No, if you were indifferent.
But I think if you were on the fence, if you were on the fence or indifferent, and you're, in L.A.
Damn, Justin Herbert, now they got Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting storyline. And I do think, for good, bad, whatever.
I prove it. If they go and turn into a dynasty and they win a bunch of Super Bowls, they'll get some fans.
Yeah.
I will believe that when I see it, though.
For sure.
Their ownership has not changed. Their salary cap situation has not changed. And call me crazy, because I know he has a track record of success. Jim Harbaugh, and I've interacted with him before when he was here as a coach at USD, and we've seen, his news conferences and his interviews over the years. He's a loon. He's kind of a loon. He's a loon who makes it work for him.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with grown-ups, he only lasted 4 years before they ran him out of San Francisco. He butted heads with Trent Baalke, the general manager. They ran him out with a 7-7 record, I think, in his last season. It works in college because you get new players who cycle in. He's good at recruiting. He can sell parents. He can get guys. He can get people to come play for him.
Literally, all he does is win everywhere he goes.
Yeah. It's true. It's absolutely true.
The Niners were in shambles.
Yeah, 44-19
and then after 3 good seasons, he had a mediocre year and they ran him out of town. I'm sure he will turn things around at least somewhat in a couple of years. Will it last, though? Will Jim Harbaugh's act, will his shtick play with 32-year-old grown men who are on long-term contracts.
No, that's his thing. Is he
And
wears you down after like 4 or 5 years.
He's going to wear.
Now he's at Michigan for almost 10.
Yeah, but he has new players every single year. It's not in college. It can go on forever. You can do that, and you got a new audience every couple of years cycling in, and you can just be the crazy loon and the energy guy.
He was at USD for like 3 years, Stanford for 3 or 4, the Niners for 4.
It wears out professional players who just sign, 5-year contracts. Like, oh,
can I say something without you getting mad?
Yeah,
you sound a little bitter.
I've been bitter for like 7 years.
You sound a little more bitter.
Of course, I'm bitter. I've been bitter. I'm bitter about the team leaving town. They shouldn't have left town. I'm never going to stop being mad about that.
The thing that pisses me off about this story when it came down yesterday and knowing that it was going to be the top story in sports today, as we're kind of waiting for the Padres to do stuff and we're searching for content. Like, I don't want to spend much more of today's show on this story other than this segment. And it just sucks knowing that had things gone differently, had that team stayed here where they belonged, this would be a huge day.
Massive.
Of course.
Massive.
4-hour show.
And I don't even like Jim Harbaugh as a guy.
I know. I would have been in the chamber.
He's a damn good football coach, though, and we would be like, he's coming home.
Yeah.
This is our guy.
I would have been in the chamber.
If you are still a Chargers fan, this is undoubtedly good news.
Great news.
But those aren't the people that the Chargers need to win over. If you're a Chargers fan, they got you, and they're never going to lose you because they've done everything they can possibly do
to lose you.
And if they haven't lost you yet, didn't matter if they hired Paul as the head coach. You're still going to be a fan of their team.
You could do a lot worse than Paul Reindl.
You've already proven you're not going.
Staley.
You're not going anywhere. They can do anything. You're not going anywhere. So the hiring of Jim Harbaugh, makes you happy, but that's kind of irrelevant. Does this win over haters? Is there people who are on the fence about the Chargers at this point? I mean, are they going to steal a bunch of fans from the Rams who just, won a Super Bowl? And by the way, they are actually a team on the rise with exciting younger players who are not expensive, like Puka Nacua just coming up, and Kyron Williams, who had a good season last year. They're in much better roster shape right now, than the Chargers. The Chargers have a quarterback, but right now, that's about it. They got a quarterback and a lot of question marks and a lot of issues that they're going to have to solve over the next couple of years. And will Harbaugh have the patience for that? If another college coaching job comes calling in 4 years and things haven't gone that well in Los Angeles with that team, and there will be moments where there's a reason why the Spanoses haven't hired a coach like Jim Harbaugh in the past. They didn't have the stomach for it. And we'll see how long they have the stomach for it. But my guess is there will be internal strife and difficulties. And I doubt that Jim Harbaugh is there more than 4 or 5 years.
Jeff says, I understand being this mad for the first year or two, but 7 is not healthy. And I think Ben acknowledges that fact at this point.
Well, the bitterness will never go away.
Sure. I don't think it will.
It'll always stick in your craw, so to speak. It's undoubtedly
the right. 20 years since my Seattle Sonics left. I still hate it.
It's undoubtedly a really good football move for them. There was and Boomer mentioned it a little bit in the update. I mean, he said, look, I mean, what's better than sticking around at Michigan with 5 potential, suspensions or violations hanging over your head? This is another Pete Carroll situation, guys. It is
identical,
straight up. Just the DEA's coming. I'm getting the hell out of here, and they leave. Obviously not the DEA, but you know what I'm saying. Like the authorities are on the way. See you later. And what does he do? He falls upward because that's what all these guys do.
I think
all the time.
The funniest social media post I saw yesterday was the warden of Shawshank looking down the tunnel that the NCAA coming to look for Jim Harbaugh to sanction Michigan.
I'll be in L.A.
I'm gone.
Now, he's not going to be immune from things in L.A. I read yesterday as well. So that's going to be another interesting thing on how this all shakes out. What can you do to him? What could they do to Pete Carroll when he took the job in Seattle? So I don't know. Still a lot up in the air, but he will be the new head coach. And I do think, this year I was reading a piece yesterday. They said this year was going to be a bit of a transition year, which is a phrase we're all too familiar with.
He'll be good for Justin Herbert, I think. Yeah. His experience and NFL wisdom and quarterback skills will continue to develop Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert hadn't been the problem for the Chargers. He's already a really, really good quarterback, and he will continue to be a really, really good quarterback, and maybe will even get better. I would be surprised if the Chargers keep going 5-12 under Jim Harbaugh. They should be better. I just don't know that they're going to be better than the Chiefs. I don't know that they're going to be able to get over the top in the AFC. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, they're not going. Those franchises aren't going away. There's good young quarterbacks. Now C.J. Stroud is in the AFC as well. You're going to have a lot of things go right to get yourself to even one Super Bowl in the next few years if you're the L.A. Chargers.
Prior Faithful says you can't argue he doesn't change programs around and wins everywhere he goes. His resume speaks for itself. You're absolutely right.
Like,
You're
objectively,
Objectively.
Emotions aside, it was the best possible hire they could have made.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people.
I don't think there's really any argument.
I think a lot of people are left. Not you, but I mean, just everyone had the thing. They said, "Oh, I'm not even worried about it. They're not going to spend money for a coach like this. They're just not. They don't do it like this." Well, they did it. They did it. You got to go against the grain sometimes, and this is massively against the grain for the Spanos family. Now, can they get out of their own way and let this guy go do what he does and turn this team around? I think they'll win more than 5 games next year. I'll take the over on that one for sure. But again, they're saying transition year for him. There's a lot.
They can't fix everything in 1 year. If they make all the right moves and move in the right direction, in 2 years, they can consider being a playoff team, and that would be I think that would be a solid. That would be a solid couple of steps. But that still doesn't mean they've been a playoff team in LA.
Yep.
That doesn't move the needle. Can they win a championship?
I just want to say I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I know it hurts.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
All right. Throwback Thursday.
It's not your fault.
Means going into the vault for Ben and Woods.
It's not your fault.
A 2020 pranking of Ben.
It's not your fault.
And then we'll play a little real or fake as well. Chance to qualify. Trip to Las Vegas. All coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan.
Got a nice tweet here. It says from Foo Fighters on right now in our ears.
The Foo Fighters.
The Foo Fighters. So Ben Woods, trust me, I'm not over the Chargers leaving, but that's why my hate is towards the Spanos family. The team is a different entity entirely. It's like your friend who had to move away. You don't hate him. He had no choice, but his parents might be a Spanos. Your buddy moves away like middle of senior year. You're like, are you kidding me, dude? You're not mad at your buddy. It's not his fault. But, you know, that the narrative here still, and it kind of ties into what Oakland's going through. And we'll play you some audio later in the show that will make you cringe from John Fisher. The narrative that so many San Diegans still cling to that, well, it's the city's fault. It's the city's fault. I've said it before. I'll say it again till the day I die because I heard it from the source. He never wanted to stay here. He never tried to stay here. He never wanted to stay here. His quote, and I'm talking about Dino, his quote was, yeah, I want to go to L.A. I'll be a big shot in L.A. He never wanted to stay here. Okay? So
We're not going anywhere.
Don't cling to that narrative anymore. They didn't want to be here. And
No,
it's not going to change
I've heard the same thing.
It's not going to change anyone's mind.
From people who worked inside the organization.
100%.
The idea of trying to build a stadium here was just a show.
Oh, yeah.
A box they could check so they could get the approval of the other owners.
Just like John Fisher yesterday said.
To move to Los Angeles. Now, he wanted to have his own stadium. He wanted the one in Carson with the Raiders and didn't want to be the second banana to the Rams. So he still didn't get what he wanted when he went to Los Angeles. But, yeah, that was the plan, apparently, all along, even for like a decade going through.
He never wanted to stay here, man. He thought... He saw the greener pastures, and he went for it. And he can say till he's blue in the face, "Oh, we did everything we could to stay." That's just
the
not
fact
the case.
that San Diego State could build, and I get it. It's a $300 million stadium, not $1 billion stadium or whatever. But if they wanted to do one in Mission Valley, they could have gotten it done.
Yep.
No doubt about it. You could have done it without major public, They could have designed it at least where it could have passed muster, where it doesn't look like the public is paying, even though I'm sure there would have had to have been some cooperation.
Oh, yeah.
And they would have happily cooperated to keep the Chargers in town. As long as it doesn't look like the city is writing a big check straight to the Chargers, they would have made it work in Mission Valley. But they came up with a bunch of unfeasible plans that had way too many opponents, and it was exactly how they wanted.
You know what?
And they ended up where they wanted to be.
And a guy has the right, if you're an owner, if you own a snow cone stand, you're allowed to pick it up and move it wherever you want to go. Wherever you want. That is your right to do. But
right, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you if you own something, do what you want with it. It's yours. You own it. But you have to face the repercussions.
Right.
Like the entire city may loathe you, and you'll be, public enemy number one. I love this snow cone stand. I went there every day after work. Well, I'm moving it. I'm moving it to Carlsbad. You know what I mean? But I like it here. I like it here in Mission Valley. No, sorry. I'm moving it to Carlsbad. There's nothing anybody can do about it.
And people would say, well, what would you have done in the same situation? I wouldn't have moved the team.
Correct.
I wouldn't have. I know I would have. If I ever was fortunate enough to be a billionaire who got to own a professional franchise, I would really like to think I would do it like Peter Seidler
100%
did it.
Yep.
And not like Dean
John Fisher
Spanos
and
or
Dean
John
Spanos.
Fisher did it.
Right. I mean, this happens to be, again, it's like the movie Major League. Oh, you want to leave Cleveland for Miami? All right, there's a part of me that gets that. You don't leave here for anywhere. This is the destination. This is where you want to end up. It's why 7 years later, everybody still calls them the San Diego Chargers. You were a part of this community, and you wanted to be a big shot, and okay, you're on your way, I guess. We'll see how it works out, but so far not so great for them, but a step in the right direction yesterday, hiring Jim Harbaugh.
Got Real or Fake coming up here in a couple of minutes. If you want to play our game and qualify for our grand prize getaway to Las Vegas, call now, 833-288-0973. Phone lines are open, 833-288-0973. Of course, when we started this show, it was a little more fresh, the move. It was just, a year or two in the past that the Chargers have left town. So we have been on pretty much the entire post-Chargers era amassing content over the years that we like to revisit on Thursdays, Throwback Thursdays, going back in time. And Paulie has a couple of good ones from today. Where do you want to start? You want to start with 2020?
Yeah, let's do that. I think that's a good call. This was the first of... Oh gosh, how many pranks have we done, Woods?
On Ben?
Two or three?
Oh,
I mean, like on-air
pranks?
Liner-related pranks.
I'm not a huge fan of the on-air pranks, but as long as you keep them to a minimum, I will be a good sport.
Yeah.
So back in January of 2020, we were currently running a promotion on the station called The Biggest Fan. I think we just did it again a couple of months ago.
We did.
We'll call out a name. You got to sign up on the website. We call your name. You have 10 minutes to call, and then you're qualified for a grand prize.
How did we get him with this?
And, well, let's just go to the audio.
833-288-0973. You got 10 minutes. Dixie Normus. Dixie. Why are you laughing?
Oh, my God.
That's the name on my list here.
What was it again?
Dixie Normus.
Oh,
I think that's where I
That's
heard
where
it.
you realize.
You're doing the Simpsons thing on me.
No, I didn't watch The Simpsons. I just...
Bart Simpson.
Oh, God. I'm pouring sweat right now. I felt
Why?
immediately...
I instantly regret it.
I
I
felt
am
bad
sick
immediately.
today. Really, today,
He
all
was
day.
very
I
sick.
instantly regret what just happened.
I've been nervous for the last hour.
I'm shaking right now.
I've been like, oh, God,
Ben, I'm so
45
sorry.
more
I'm so
minutes.
sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so
20 more
sorry.
minutes.
I'm
I'm
not
so
even
sorry,
at
I'm
my.
so sorry.
I'm not even at my best.
I'm so sorry.
A good day to do it. It was a really good day to do it. Dixie Normus.
Dixie Normus.
I apologize. Years later.
Well, you apologize, but it was probably 2 years later you did Pound Town Pound Cakes.
That was a good one.
I kind of read what's in front of me. I
Dixie
trust that
Normus.
I'm supposed to read these things.
We
It's
all
part of the
do.
job.
We all
so I
do.
just read.
Yeah.
I kind of see them and I just read them.
Yeah.
I don't think about them. How hard would this be if every single time Paulie, and here's if you're on the YouTube, I get a sheet with different liners.
Yeah.
Paulie prints them out before the show. If every single time I had to study each of them with a fine-tooth comb to
After
make
that.
sure, all right, is this one real or is it fake? Is there a landmine in here? I'd spend like 30 minutes every day looking through these things. I don't have that kind of time to see if you guys are trying to pull a fast one on me. So I just read what's in front of me, guys. I just read what's in front of me.
Dixie Normus.
Later on, a few weeks later, we got a package in the mail of it was a name tag that somebody had made that
Yes.
said Dixie Normus on it.
Yes.
Made Ben wear it for a day.
We all got one, and mine said Paul. Yours said Woodsy,
Yeah.
and his said
Dixie Normus.
Dixie Norman.
No, it's worse things that people could say about you. They've said it. Ben, the big fat hen. Ben Gay. Dixie Normus is actually a decent nickname.
Fine.
Call me that.
That wasn't my nickname, though. That was our
That
biggest
was our
fan.
biggest fan.
Dixie Normus.
Dixie's a real name. I mean, like Dixie
Yeah.
Why are you
Carter, actress.
Yeah.
Dixie. Normus is kind of weird.
Normus is a weird.
Normus.
Weird
Norman, normal. I mean, that was kind of weird. But if I wasn't sick, I might have picked that one out.
It really timed out beautifully.
Speaking of things that are real or fake, let's get to today's game.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods. You can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
All right, we got Pete on the line. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
Morning, Pete.
All right, here's your opportunity to qualify for our grand prize monthly drawing. 2 nights at the Westgate Las Vegas Hotel and Casino, and an electrifying night of rock and roll as 2 iconic bands, Tom Kiefer and LA Guns, come together to perform live on April 11th at the Westgate International Theater. You can check out the newly designed premiere rooms, part of the $70 million room renovations at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. All right, today, I'll read a liner. You just have to tell me if it's real or fake. That's not the game today. All right, here we go. It was 1 week ago, last Wednesday, that Woods Paul, our new Australian friend, and I ventured to Explicit for my first ever strip club
Gentlemen's
venture.
Club. Kevin.
As you know, I did some research prior to the visit. I actually looked into several of the other adult establishments in the Phoenix area for comparison.
Yeah.
So today on Real or Fake, Pete, I will give you a name. You have to tell me if it's a real strip club in the Valley of the Sun
Gentlemen's Club.
or a fake I have thrown in to fool you. Pete, you understand the rules?
Yeah, I do.
All right. 4 out of 7 gets it done. Good luck. And you can ask Woods for help if you want. Round number 1, real or fake. Tiffany's Exotica.
Whoa.
Real or fake gentlemen's club in the Phoenix area. Tiffany's Exotica.
Let's go real.
He's going real. That's fake.
Oh, made that up. Oh, you have a dirty mind. Exotica.
4 out of 7 is what it
Oh,
takes
got
to
time.
win. All right, let's go. Round
Woods, I'm
number
going to need your help.
You got it, buddy.
Round number 2. Jaguars. Real or fake? Exotic dance club in Phoenix.
Let's go real.
Yeah, real.
Yeah, that was real. You seem very confident.
I've seen
over there,
that one, I
Woods.
think.
All right, that's 1 correct. We go to round number 3. Oh, my God. Dicks. Real or fake?
Thank you for that.
Fake.
Fake.
It's real. That one's actually the male.
The male.
Version
Do
of
that
the
one
exotic
next
club.
time.
I've never been to the Valley of the Sun.
That's all right. That's all right. You're fine.
They're not even trying with that nickname.
Yeah,
that
nope.
name for the club.
All right, here we go. Round number 4. The Great Alaskan Bush Company. Real or fake?
My
Pete?
God, it's real.
Fake.
No, it's real. It's real.
Too
It's
late.
real. It's real. No! Why are you such a stickler today? That was real. That's a real place.
We were
It
actually
is.
told that's where we needed
It's
to go.
there's
was
one
too
location
far.
in Anchorage and one in Phoenix,
It was
apparently.
very far from the house, and as we know,
I can't believe we didn't go there, though. Of all the
I
places
know.
we could have gone.
Covered.
I know.
Bush.
I'm going to blame Odyssey. They wouldn't pay the mileage, so that's why we didn't. It was like 26 miles. From
All
the
right,
house.
pressure's
We
on
looked.
now, Pete. You got to get the last 3 right.
Oh God.
Oh, boy.
Round number 5. Mama Chicas. Real or fake? Mama Chicas. Real or fake?
Fake.
Fake.
Fake is right.
Yes.
All right, we're still alive. Round 6. Sugar 44. Pete, real or fake? Sugar 44.
Real.
It is.
No, I was going to say fake.
It is
Nice.
real. And now we once again
Oh,
get to
God.
round
Game
number
7.
7
Game
for
7.
all the marbles. Real or fake?
For all the dollar bills.
Exotic clubs in Phoenix, Arizona. Maria's of Maryvale. Real or fake? Maria's of Maryvale.
Let's go real.
Oh, buddy.
Ouch, Pete.
So sorry.
Thank you for playing.
close,
It
man.
came close, but not in the cards today. Only Explicit, though, had the 2-story poll.
That's true.
None of the other clubs can boast a 2-story poll.
I don't know why it makes me uncomfortable when he talks about it, but it does.
I want, you know, I've wondered since we went last week. We drove down. It's not that far from State Farm Stadium.
Yeah.
But you drive like a few miles east, and literally there stops being anything there.
There's nothing
And
there.
then you get there, and it's the landfill, and it's like right next to the landfill.
It's on garbage.
How cheap was that plot of land? Okay,
It's the first thing he said when we pulled in.
we've got a good
Our real estate speculator.
We've got a good half acre here for you. There's nothing around it except a landfill. What would you like to pay for this plot of land in the desert?
We pulled into the parking lot. He goes, "Oh, we're on the landfill. I wonder how much this building costs." And I go, "That's what you're thinking about right now? That's what you're thinking about." Walking into your very first experience, he was wondering about the real estate speculation in the Glendale area
kid.
and how much.
Sweet,
Yeah,
sweet kid.
Guys, mine's always on business. Always.
I mean, it's got to be some of the cheapest property in the western United States.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it is. It's and it is by itself.
Yeah.
It is like an oasis in the middle of garbage. Basically, it's essentially what
We
it
were
is.
a mile out, and we just saw a big building with
Like
purple neon.
I go, well, that's got to be it.
That's
And
it.
Sure enough. pulled in.
There was no mistaking where you were headed at that point.
When we go back for spring training, we can stop and we can ask to see the deed and see how much they paid for it. It's the one thing he's thinking about incessantly.
All right, we will get back to Take on Woods tomorrow. Another chance at Real or Fake next week. Sorry, Pete. Thank you for playing. Don't Do This is coming up next, and since we are talking about much despised owners in sports, think we can sneak one in from the world of baseball today on Don't Do This?
This audio it's spectacular. It's spectacular. Paulie sent it over yesterday. We'll play that for you next.
All right, it's coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station. Back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Woodsy, get us started here on Don't Do This.
I will, my friend. So we were talking, about Dean Spanos. We were talking about John Fisher. And John Fisher is moving his team to Las Vegas. And the Las Vegas Review-Journal, their local paper, had a big symposium, if you will, and wanted to keep, their audience abreast of all the situations happening with the A's and their move to Las Vegas eventually. And they had a big to-do, and they invited a lot of people, and it was a nice, beautiful, well-lit stage. And, well, the speaker came out, and this is how it started.
Boy.
Let's give it up one more time for Mary Beth and John Fisher, please. The Las Vegas A's.
Oh.
We like the sound of that, right, Vegas?
Do we?
Yeah? Yes? Are we alive back there, Las Vegas? How we feeling?
It's like Joe Coy all over again. It was like Joe Coy at the Golden Globes. Like, hey, that's funny, right? That's funny.
If you're the MC,
You're in hell. You're in pure hell.
just move on.
Just-
Don't bring attention to the fact that no one is responding to what you're saying. Just move on at that point.
And we always had you always get such a kick out of how I will bring attention to the mistakes that we make. Radio is fine. When you're emceeing, you just put your head down and you plow through
That's why I'm good at it.
Period. Period. The end. Give it up for John Fisher. And if they don't clap, that is not your responsibility. You are not Arsenio Hall trying to whip them into a frenzy before, a meeting. Like, let it go. It was silent in there. So now everyone in Oakland hates you, and it seems that everyone at Las Vegas hates you as well, John Fisher. So you're really,
The
really
Las Vegas
crushing
A's.
it. Well,
We like the sound of that, right, Vegas?
I don't think so.
Yeah? Yes? Are we alive back there, Las Vegas? How we feeling?
Wasn't that funny? Aren't I funny? Well, they spoke to John Fisher after, and listen to what this dude said.
Area. I started out as a Giants fan before we bought the A's. There's no words that I can say that are going to make people at home who are really upset about the team leaving feel better about the team or about me. All I can do is say I gave everything I had to try and make things work. And we're very excited to be coming to Las Vegas, and this is where our new home is going to be.
Oh, man.
Straight out of the Spanos playbook.
That's
right there.
exactly right. Did everything
It's a
I
playbook
could.
that didn't work though. So
Did everything I could. Your turn.
Okay, I will. This actually, you can file it under either fan behavior, don't do this, or athletes need to have a thicker skin. Don't do this.
Interesting take
Last
here.
night, ABC, nationally televised NBA game, Phoenix Suns visiting the Dallas Mavericks, and in the third quarter, Luka Doncic snapped. One of the fans in Dallas was actually a Phoenix Suns fan wearing a Devin Booker jersey right there in front, and was heckling Doncic, and apparently he had been heckling him in the first half, and there may have been some cursing involved, but the comment that actually put Luka Doncic over the top was reportedly this: Luka, you're tired. Get your ass on the treadmill. And that's what caused Luka, who was standing at midcourt, to point him out to security and ask them to remove that Suns fan from the building, which he did. They was escorted out of the property. That reporting makes it seem very soft. Like, that's a very soft reaction by an NBA superstar to get a fan thrown out for just a heckling comment like that. Now, other people say in the first half he was cursing a little bit more and was a little more intense on the heckling, may have crossed some lines, but that comment was kind of funny. I mean, Doncic is a great player, but he's a bigger guy. So is Jokic. They're both bigger guys, and they're great NBA players. But
yeah,
you're going to get some heat.
Yeah.
If you're an NBA star, even at home.
Home, sure, absolutely.
Also, Booker was lighting up the Mavs last night, so the guy
was feeling good.
Booker fan feeling good.
So after the game, he went to a press conference, and there's a beef going on between NBA journalist Tim McMahon and Luka Doncic. So this happened after the game. It's a little bit hard to hear, but just
No, I got to get on.
Oh, you got it. Okay, good.
Luka, what were you frustrated about at the end of the second quarter when you got that technical?
I know I saw you when you said about the fan, you know. That was not a true all. That was not the only thing he said. But I knew you would be the first one to point out something like that. I'm not going to say what he said, but I knew you were going to be the first one to put out something like that. So I just saw it, man. It's just funny. You always seem to be the first one to put some bad stuff about me.
First of all, 99% of the stuff I've written about you has been good.
I don't know.
I was sitting 2 rows behind us.
All right, so it was the only thing that time he said something, the only thing?
That was what you reacted to.
Yeah, I was hearing the whole first half, right? Oh, you didn't hear anything?
He was definitely hollering.
Okay, there we go.
Acted.
But you put out something that was just the only thing. But
What was the final straw? What was the issue?
What was the thing that...
It's not the issue. I'm just seeing you seems to be the first one to always put something bad about me.
Oh my God!
It's fine. It's all over.
Why did you ask for the fan to be ejected?
Because he was cursing me the whole first half too.
Why didn't you ask for him to be ejected in the first half then?
Because I never would eject a fan. They pay for tickets, but I had enough, you know. It's a little bit of frustration.
You turned your head and looked over at him after he said that.
You're Tim McMahon just
that's
punching
what we
up
saw.
the
Yeah, that's
next
fine.
hit piece.
The bad guy in the media, right?
Oh, God.
It's all right.
Fairly portrayed in the media?
No.
So Tim was the one who tweeted that treadmill
Yeah.
line from the heckler,
Correct.
which made Luka seem like he was pretty soft for
Yep.
getting him ejected. And Luka is defending and saying it was way worse than that. Your tweet made it seem obviously like I have the thinnest of skins,
Right.
and it was worse than that. I can see this from both perspectives.
I can too.
But I think ultimately, Tim McMahon, he's not. Most media members, they're not out to get guys. They're out to publish interesting stories. And that was the interesting story of the game. He got a technical. He got a fan ejected. That's the story. So you're going to write what was said at the moment when he was ejected. There's nothing out of bounds about that. And if Luka really doesn't want that kind of heat, ignore the fan. Ignore him and move on. So ultimately, I think the DDT goes to Luka Doncic here.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's get now to a little more lighthearted action.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
So this is pretty amazing audio. Listening to former football players talk about their former legendary Hall of Fame head coach, Bill Belichick. And they told the story. It was Julian Edelman, it was Randy Moss, and Tom Brady on a podcast called Games with Names. And, obviously Bill's in the news. He's interviewing for jobs. Julian Edelman, who is pretty dynamic dude, man. All three of those guys can spin a yarn. Listen to the story he told about Bill Belichick and his want to motivate his team.
Every offseason, we'd have some inspirational thing from Bill. This guy lays out an hour-long presentation on why Tiger Woods is Tiger Woods. He's sitting there. You guys are over in Vegas in the offseason. This guy's hitting his 7-iron. He's at the greens putting. And 3 weeks later, the whole Tiger saga came out, right? 3 weeks later, Randy, as soon as it came out, we're in stretch lines. And Bill walking around, he got his little whistle and he's whistling or doing his little whistle twirl. And all of a sudden you hear out of left field, "Hey, Bill! Hey, Bill!" You see Belichick, he just shakes his head like he knew exactly what it is. How about Tiger Whole team starts dying. Whole team's going crazy.
I love it so much, man. Yeah, you bring in here we are. This is the top of the mountain. Now, Tiger had his extracurriculars, but I don't think you can deny that he was, when he wasn't doing that, hitting his 7-iron all the time and very focused on winning golf tournaments. But to have that blow up in your face 3 weeks after you present him as this model for success is pretty damn funny. And only probably Randy Moss could have gotten away with that. Randy and Tom and maybe Julian Edelman, the only three guys that could have gotten away
And
with
Julian Edelman's a huge Bill Belichick fan.
Oh, yeah, they all are. Yeah.
But especially
So good.
Edelman's been as much in Belichick's corner as anybody in terms of supporting that coach. Even
So
through the tougher years, the last couple of years, he was always in Bill's corner completely.
It's so funny.
That's funny. All right, that's Don't and Do This for a Thursday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
So I've been meticulously writing down every move the Padres have made this offseason. It seems like they haven't done anything at all, but I thought as we kind of hit this point where everything is at a standstill, might want to review kind of the steps that they have taken to get to this point in time on January 25th. With spring training just 2 weeks away.
Oh, my God.
How have we gotten to this point in time? We'll kind of look back here at the Padres' off-season moves. Coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, breaking news from the golf world this morning. Jason Sobel tweeting, Nick Dunlap has announced he is turning pro. Not a shocker. Will immediately own full PGA Tour status and an exemption through the 2026 season, and is already eligible for 3 of this year's 4 major championships and the remaining 7 signature events.
Life just changed dramatically for that young man.
I don't really think it was a tough decision.
No.
He withdrew from the Farmers Insurance Open this week, which he had qualified for, to go back to Alabama, talk to family and friends and his teammates.
Pack his apartment.
I've got to imagine, unless they're the most selfish people of all time, they all told him the same thing.
100%.
You got to do this, man. I mean,
got
that's
to.
what you've been working for. You've got it now. You don't turn it down once you've got your dreams, your aspirations. They're all right in front of you. There's no reason to turn it down so you can play a few more college golf tournaments.
Correct.
With your teammates. As much as you may love your teammates, I would think your teammates would say, if it was any one of us,
we'd be out.
We'd be
so
gone instantly to play in these events. So he will make his official PGA Tour debut next week at Pebble Beach, which is one of the signature elevated events on the PGA Tour this season.
When it comes to athletics in college, like golf is no different than football
Absolutely.
or basketball or baseball or any other sport. Like there's a group of people out there that hate the one and dones in college athletics.
Sure, they want them to grind out the 4 years and honor that commitment.
Hey, fine. If that's what you want to do, of course, get your degree and all that. But ultimately, I think the argument is the point of college is to get you ready for your career.
Correct.
And if it only takes you 1 year to
Look
set
at
yourself
you.
up to get into that career, whether you're going to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL or joining the PGA Tour, college served its purpose for you.
Correct.
The only tiny difference is that because there's no draft and because the PGA Tour season is essentially all year long and the college golf season is actually split, so they do some of the events in the fall and some in the spring, so they're just starting up again, that when you leave, you can leave in the middle of your season. You'd never see a guy, I had a huge game in October for USC, and then it's like next week he's playing for the Raiders. He just went pro. So
that'd be badass.
I mean, the way things are going with the transfer portal and NIL, you never know.
Don't be surprised.
In that sense,
of course, that's slightly different.
He's abandoning his team mid-season, which is, I mean, and guys now are like sitting out bowl games and stuff, so it's kind of similar that way. But most of the time, they at least finish out the 1 year and then they go pro. In golf, you're middle of the year. It's like, okay, I'm a pro now, and I am starting my pro career now.
Yeah, I think when you win a tournament and the final group is you and Justin Thomas, and like you win that tournament, I think that is a nice little push in that direction to say, yeah, this is life's next opportunity. This is what I was here for.
And the nice thing is you get the 2-year exemption for winning, but that doesn't include the current year. So this entire year is essentially gravy. It's like whatever I make this year is just bonus because my exemption that I earn doesn't even start until 2025, but I get to play in all of these tournaments. I get valuable experience. I'm going to get to play in the majors, go to Augusta, play in these elevated events, a lot of which don't even have cuts. So even if you play terrible and finish last, your expenses, everything more than covered by the prize money, and you're kind of learning about life and the courses on the PGA Tour. It makes perfect sense for him to go. There's no doubt about it, and I'm sure everyone told him the same thing. I'm only bummed. Probably could have made that decision in about 10 minutes in the desert last week and come and play Torrey Pines this week. And we could have watched him. But I get why you probably need to decompress for a minute and evaluate. And I understood his withdrawal from the tournament this week.
I like him, man. I do. I liked watching him and really seeing. Now, look, he could go out and get waxed, and he probably will. He's probably gonna. You're gonna have to wear it a little bit. Nobody steps in unless you're Tiger Woods. Steps in there and just starts winning tournaments. But man, to get that first one under your belt, Ben, and to do it against competition that he did in the final group that he did. Now it's going to be different, right? Because the Saturday he played in that tournament. What was the difference? It was he played with the amateurs?
So in that tournament, they play 3 different courses. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday are all a different course, and you're playing, it's a pro-am, so every day you're playing with an amateur partner in the group, and then on Sunday you play with the other pros on the final round, and they all play at PGA West. So yeah, he'll have to get used to regular tournaments and playing in the in pairings or threesomes with the other pro players. But he played with Justin Thomas.
He did on the last day,
and he played with Sam Burns, 2 Ryder Cuppers on the last day, and held his own.
He sure did, man.
Yeah,
and seemed kind of unflappable.
And there are other good stories at Torrey Pines this week. The leader, Kevin Yu, who shot 8 under on the North yesterday, he was a rookie last year, but missed a lot of the year with an injury, so he's really a young guy just getting started. Mentioned Patrick Cantlay is a stroke back. Xander Schauffele had a really solid 3-under round. Never won his hometown tournament. If he has a halfway decent day on the North today, he should be right there on the leaderboard going into the weekend. The best South round was 5-under by Nicholas Højgaard, who was a Ryder Cupper for Europe from Denmark last year, who got onto the PGA Tour by playing well on the DP World Tour last year. I'm cheering, though, for Michael Kim. He's the Torrey Pines high school kid. So I don't know if anyone knows his story. He was one of the hot young phenoms about 10 years ago when he was 20, made his debut at this tournament. And, was on the PGA Tour for a few years. And then, like, in 2019 or so, lost his game. And he missed, 42 of 43 cuts.
Jeez,
and fell to, 2,000th in the world rankings.
What was it? Mental?
Just, it's golf, Guys lose it and their swing. It all gets funky. Yeah. Has been working with Sean Foley, who was Tigers coach for a while, and working on his mental game. Has come back, played really well, played well last week, and is 5-under on the North course and in contention this week. He's good on social media. I follow him on Twitter. He's a good follow. He's very positive. He'll review swings and, just talk about life behind the scenes on the PGA Tour openly and honestly. Good kid, 30 now, and is kind of in the second stage of his career, but definitely pulling for him. And, of course, we were on the Torrey Pines golf team together.
You weren't.
Well,
he's
much younger,
right.
But it's the same team, essentially. So,
who's the guy? How do you say it?
Christian Bezuidenhout.
He's the guy I'm pulling for. Did you know his story?
I don't really know his story.
Oh, my God.
I know it sounds like you're sneezing when you say his name. Bezuidenhout.
Christian
Bezuidenhout.
Bezuidenhout. I watched an interview with him the other day, and he has a speech impediment. But the reason that he has a speech impediment, guys, is because when he was a kid, he drank rat poison. Accidentally drank rat poison.
That's I don't know that ever happened in real life. It's always the thing you see,
like in an after school
movies
special
or something.
Right.
Yeah, but does it really happen?
So when he was a kid, he drank this, and it almost killed him. And they saved his life, but it really severely affected his nervous system and his speech. So you'll hear him in tournaments, and you can see the mind is willing, but the body doesn't follow always. He said he was such a good golfer, obviously. When he was a junior in high school, he would be like, I hope I don't win this tournament because I don't want to give a speech after. Man. And he is that funny? I think
it's amazing.
He's laughing. Okay, good. He didn't want to win. He didn't want to speak. And he's gotten, more comfortable doing it. Yeah. He's won. He's a really good player.
Good for him.
And I read that and I went, oh my God. Imagine being a golfer and you're with a nervous system that isn't functioning fully all the time. So that's a guy that I was like, man, I'll be pulling for that guy for the rest of my life. That is, talk about obstacles to overcome. Don't let your kids drink rat poison as well. Call poison control.
Or tuna off the floor.
Off the floor.
Until
they're older. All
right, first tee time, second round, 1 hour from now out at Torrey Pines. I assume no fog delay or anything. Weather seems okay. So, all right, you'd be surprised. It feels like the Padres have done almost nothing. You'd probably, what have they made? 3 moves this offseason? Actually, there's about a dozen things they've done. I wanted to review to see where we stand here on January 25th in the Padres offseason. We'll go through that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by San Diego Imperial Valley high-intensity drug trafficking areas. No change in that situation on the coastline, guys. Southbound 5 past Delmar Heights Road, 2 right lanes remain blocked, all due to a fatal collision involving a pickup truck that rear-ended a semi over to the right shoulder. So investigation continues. Give yourself a little extra time if that's your route. That's South 5 past Delmar Heights. Also, a 3-car collision in the North County South 15 before Deer Springs Road. That is in the Center Divide. Did you know fentanyl is being sold on social media disguised to look like prescription medications? If it doesn't come from a doctor or pharmacist, then it likely contains fentanyl. Talk to your kids today before it's too late. Get the conversation started at thetimesnow.sd.org. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I got the chronology of the Padres what's gone on kind of in the offseason for them. And these are kind of more of the moves that affect the big league club. Obviously, there was big news with Peter Seidler's passing and other things like that. But, all right, the offseason started right away with Manny Machado getting surgery on his tennis elbow. What is that, the flexor? And he's been recovering pretty well from that. We were speculating whether he'd be ready in time for spring training, but the reports have been pretty good on Manny and his recovery, and hopefully we'll see him in spring and certainly ready to go hitting-wise and maybe even fielding-wise by the time they get to Korea for the first couple of games of the season. They had the non-tenders, Austin Nola, Tim Hill, Taylor Colway, and Jose Espada were the guys on the 40-man that they did not offer contracts to.
Who was the first one you said?
Austin Nola.
Austin Nola is a Brewer?
Yes.
And Tim Hill is a White Sox.
Yes. They did not want to pay them the raises they would have gotten in arbitration, so they saved some money there. The Padres claimed Tucupita Marcano off
he's back.
waivers.
That's right.
From the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is on the 40-man roster right now.
Believe he can play some outfield?
Was originally traded to Pittsburgh in 2021 as part of the Adam Frazier deal. They signed shortstop Mason McCoy to a minor league deal. Anyone remember that move? The Mason
real
McCoy move?
Yeah, I remember that.
The 28-year-old made his MLB debut with the Blue Jays last season. The Padres traded Scott Barlow to the Cleveland Guardians in exchange for Enyel De Los Santos, the first piece in a reworking of the bullpen that has actually been the most significant stuff that the Padres have done this offseason. Padres then traded Matt Carpenter and Ray Kerr to the Atlanta Braves for minor league outfielder Drew Campbell, and they also sent $1.5 million to cover part of Matt Carpenter's salary. Carpenter, of course, was then released by the Braves and signed recently with the St. Louis Cardinals, a one-year deal to return to St. Louis.
You have been keeping copious notes.
I have. Padres traded Juan Soto and Trent Grisham to the New York Yankees. I think we talked about that deal once or twice over the last month. They got a lot of pitching in return. Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, Kyle Higashioka. Then they hit the free agent market, signing left-handed pitcher Yuki Matsui to a 5-year, $25 million deal out of Nippon Professional Baseball in Japan. They then signed South Korea reliever Woo Suk-go to a 2-year deal from the KBO. And then just most recently, the international market agreeing to a $4.2 million bonus with very, very highly regarded 17-year-old shortstop Leodalis Davis from the Dominican Republic. And that's your offseason in a nutshell for the San Diego Padres at this point.
You forgot Cal Mitchell. Cal Mitchell was added as well.
I didn't take copious enough of notes.
Cal Mitchell, San Diego native, came over from the Pirates, I believe, is another potential fourth outfielder potentially for this team. So, obviously it's not enough. We're nowhere close to having a complete team, and every day that passes, people come off the board, and it makes you a little bit nervous. I was talking to a buddy yesterday, and I said, so is this kind of the plan? Like, this is the plan of just kind of waiting out? Now, to be completely fair, we're not the only team doing this. There's still a lot of pretty good names out there. You think about Jorge Soler, you think about Cody Bellinger, you think about Blake Snell, you think about there's still a ton of guys out there. But due to financial constraints, I don't know how much of a player the San Diego Padres are going to be for anybody in the top 20
And
left.
a lot of those guys that fit in the outfield are right-handed, and we've said many times the Padres need to get more left-handed. Really, Cody Bellinger is the only one that seems like would make perfect sense if you could afford him.
Yeah, if he wasn't a $280 million contract, of which you already have 4 or 5.
But that doesn't seem feasible at this juncture, which leaves you with the trade market. And it's hard to speculate on the trade market because I know Craig does a great job. Every single day he makes a trade involving a different team for the San Diego Padres, and it's great content on the Annie and Elston show. But you don't really know if guys are even available.
Sure.
So it's literally just darts at a board speculation when you talk about, hey, Padres should make a trade. It's easy to say, but you can call another team and they go, no, we're not interested in trading that guy. It's a really short conversation at that point. So I don't know how much speculation we want to get into on the trade market.
Well, and the crazy thing is, they put out a graphic yesterday. It was MLB.com or somebody, I can't remember. Maybe it was MLB Network. Now, their lists haven't really been all that great or thorough this year, but they were ranking the top left fielders in baseball. I can't abide anybody that tells me again that a corner outfielder is easy to find. I just can't listen to you anymore, because if you look at the top 10 left fielders in baseball, you look, Yordan Alvarez is number one. I mean, and he mostly DHs. So I looked at that list and went, oh yeah, we're up against it, you know. And not only we, everybody that needs one is up against it. And I'll try to find that list and read you the names. It's not a who's who, Ben, of baseball players. So I just don't know what their plan is.
Alex in the chat, Ben Essing on Craig and Annie. Oh, no, it wasn't. I just said it was
kidding?
good content.
It's good content.
I just
dude.
don't. I mean, and it's speculation, and we can't count on any of those moves happening. But it's great content. I just said it was great content. All right, we'll come back. 2 hours to go. Wow. It's Ben and Woods on a Thursday morning here on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are halfway home on a Thursday. Ben and Woods, 97.3, the Fan. Lovely to be here with you this morning. My name is Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Quickly, did you guys see the thread going around yesterday? And I responded to it. It's this guy named Serve tweeted, men who are over 30 give. Now, I misread. It said, give one piece of advice to men who are in their 20s.
You gave a lot.
I did. I gave like 6. If you do it in one long run-on sentence, though, it works. Men who are over 30 give one piece of advice to men who are in their 20s. It can be about anything. And I was reading through the responses, and I liked a lot of what I saw, and I responded yesterday. I had a few ideas for men in their 20s. I said, get rid of the black clouds in your life, people-wise. Probably the biggest one for me. You get rid of the victim people in your life is infinitely better. Infinitely. You know, and we all know those people where it's like the whole world's against me and blah, 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 and it's always a victim. It's never their fault. And you're like, it drags you down. You know, it's like the Titanic, and they're pulling you down with them. I said, be accountable always. If you screw up, own it. Save money, read more books, exercise more, and invest in a therapist. That was my advice to anybody in their 20s. And I feel like the thing is, though, when I was in my 20s, if somebody had given me that advice, I would have gone, yeah, sure. I'm going to do what I want.
I thought about this for a while
Yeah.
because I saw your advice, and I would imagine that your advice is probably wise for a lot of 20-year-olds.
Sure.
But, like, for me, that was not the kind of advice I needed. I already did all those things that you said.
Yeah,
I was
pretty
very
much.
responsible. I was in my
Saved
20s.
money.
Advice for Ben would have been smoke a few cigarettes.
Have some whiskey every now and
My
then.
advice for myself, like if I could go back, I would say be more confident. Don't worry about what other people think. Be yourself and
Cut
just
loose.
own it and, and enjoy yourself.
You're good at that now.
But I wouldn't tell that to a lot of 20-year-olds. Like, yeah, stop worrying about tomorrow and enjoy yourself today. Most 20-year-olds are doing too much of that already.
That's true.
And probably should be thinking more about the future. Like you were saying.
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of depends the kind of 20-year-old you're talking to in your advice.
That's probably true. Now, Paulie, you're a man over 30 now. You're a man over. What advice would you give to a young man in his 20s?
I really like the therapy one.
Yeah.
Now, I started going to therapy in my mid to late 20s.
Mine was piecemeal throughout my 20s, mostly when my parents would make me go. So
I waited until I was probably 26, 27.
Right.
And had heard about people that I knew that were going to therapy for years before that. And I just kind of had a stigma against it.
Sure.
And
a lot of dudes
didn't think I needed it.
Of course.
So I would say, yeah, even though that's something that I did do in my 20s, I could not say enough. Like, that's a very smart thing. Take care of your mentals.
Start now. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in your 20s, you listen to this show. Start now.
Getting some good advice in our YouTube chat. I like Tommy's. He says, pursue a career you love.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think
man.
that's always pretty good advice. And know that, if you are dedicated and stick to it, I think you'll be happier in the long run, even if you're sacrificing in the beginning. It's easy to take a job because it pays more and it's probably easier at that point. But if you stick with something you love for a few years through maybe some leaner years, there were some really lean years for me in radio. Even in television early, it's like, is this going anywhere? But I like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
it's half the battle.
Sticking with it was hard at times. I could have taken probably a better paying job somewhere else and might have been, it looked like the wise decision back then.
I remember I got such good, not really advice, but affirmation, I guess, from like friends, because in that stage of your life, in your early mid 20s, like after college, or at least the college age, you find yourself comparing where you're at compared to so many other people in your life. It's
hard.
It's a hell of a lot easier with Instagram and all that. You get to see only the highlights of people's lives, and it makes everybody look like they're just living wonderfully.
Oh, yeah.
And you play that comparison game, and they're like, just like what Ben just talked about. Man, I remember being at 1090 and grinding. I mean, picking up any shifts I could and making absolutely no money, like $20,000 a year,
for sure.
and having to work 2, 3, maybe even 4 jobs at a time if you count coaching high school baseball as a job. And I would feel like crap because I had friends that graduated who were making $90,000 doing whatever they were doing. And those friends would tell me, yeah, dude, I hate my job.
Yeah, they were miserable.
I hate my job.
Yep.
I work for a trucking company and I log books and yeah, I make good money, but you have the coolest job ever. You're chasing your dream. Keep chasing that. And I go, well, that's
Makes me
definitely
feel a
a
little
different
better.
way to look at it.
No doubt.
But it's also okay if you feel okay about what you're doing and you're successful, then find other things that, it doesn't have to be necessarily your work that, brings you all the fulfillment in your life.
For me, I just wish I would have stayed in more. I had the worst case of FOMO and I'm like, bro, you don't need to be out till 6 a.m. on a Tuesday night. You just don't. You're not going to miss out. I mean, it's good times. There's no question about it. Great stories, but be a bit more responsible. When you're wild in your 20s, it's like, oh, that guy's wild. When you get in your 30s and you're still that way, you're like, oof. When you're in your 40s and you're still acting like that, that's kind of a problem. So
it's not really advice from life experience myself, but it's something that I didn't do that I would tell a 20-year-old. Make sure you do this. Travel.
See, you say that.
I do think I regret
a lot of
not
people
traveling.
said that yesterday to me, and I'm such a homebody that I don't really like to travel anywhere
I'm not
anymore.
talking 6 months backpacking
No,
through
I know.
Europe,
I
but
know.
travel.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
if you can do
It's
it
within your means.
Yeah, then
whether you can do it in college, study abroad for a semester
Yeah.
if you can, if you get the opportunity.
Well,
Never took advantage of that. And always regretted it.
My thing would be live other places. Go experience what it's like to live in this state or that state.
And I think people.
I think it should be a rule. You should have to go out of state for college.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think you're really talking about necessarily vacationing more. The value of traveling when you're younger is exposing yourself to the fact that the world is bigger than one neighborhood
Bubble,
or one
yeah,
town,
one college,
or even one state. That there's a lot of different places in the world where people have different perspectives, and you may agree with some of them, you may disagree, but to see people living it and being happy with how they're living and why they're happy with how they're living is valuable to understand, and I think it gives you more empathy. It's always good to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes. It's hard to do that if you never go anywhere and you never try to understand how other people are living their lives.
Yeah, 100%. So I thought that was an interesting thread. There's a lot of good advice on there, but advice is like anything. You have to actually believe it to go out and do it. And again, if somebody had given me my own advice at 20, I would have been like, all right, totally. You know what I mean? It's just not going to get through to me at that point, Benny. So all good advice there. Love to help, but honestly the main one, and I was talking to our engineer JR about it the other day. He grabbed me. I was out waiting in the hall for Take on Woods, and how you doing, Woodsy? I said, I'm good. And he goes, looks like things are going pretty well. I said, literally never better. And he said, well, why, how? And I go, it's easy. I said, I removed negativity from my life. That's what I did. I took the negative people that weighed me down for so many years, and I booted them. I just said, I'm out. I'm not doing it anymore. You're sucking my energy. I've got my own family to invest in. I got my wife, my marriage. I cannot shepherd you along anymore. I just can't.
I had to do that with family members.
Yes, and you're
not just friends.
You're killing me. You're absolutely killing me. So I just said, as soon as I got free, everything started to improve. Now things come. Speed bumps come along, and you learn how to deal with them a little bit better. It's not always someone else's fault. And I was that way for many, many years, many, many years. And I can't be that way anymore. So I told him, I said, that was really the main one. That and therapy, the two probably biggest ones for me.
But I think you realize that there's no way to completely get away from negative people or people that are not necessarily the ones that you want to be with. You have to learn how to deal with it as well.
Well, but also, for me, I could no longer deal with it. And so my priorities changed when I had a family, and I just, took myself out of the situation, made it a billion times easier for me. Changed my
if you
entire
can,
perspective.
yes.
Yeah.
But there are still situations and people you have to deal with.
Yeah, for
it
sure.
doesn't ever go away completely.
But what I'm not doing is shepherding them, letting their, oh, this happened and this happened and I lost my job and it's their fault and it's their fault. And it's like, hey man, at some point it's on you, at some point. And I have so many people in my life that the black cloud would follow them around. And I was like, I can't be a part of it anymore. But a little deep for a Thursday on Ben and Woods, but that was essentially the.
I'm just glad that I've brought so much sunshine into your life.
You have.
in the
You're
last
very
few
positive.
years.
And I'm a negative guy a lot of the times, but it's for me, I couldn't have. They were like cancers on my arm, man. And you cut them off and you're like, oh, suddenly I feel a lot better. That's exactly how it's been.
You got a birthday coming up. Not yours.
I don't. My little guy does.
Yeah.
My wife hit me yesterday and said, hey, guess how many people are coming to Bo's birthday? He's turning 6 years old on February 6th. And I said, 20, 25? 65 people.
65 people.
We have this conversation.
Is this a wedding?
We have this conversation every year, right? That later on that day, after the party, Hannah, we are not doing this again. I've heard it for 6 straight years.
Did you have to invite
5 years.
everyone in his class? Is that one of those deals where they all have to come?
I don't think we did.
Because you don't want people to feel bad that they didn't get invited.
Everyone.
Yeah, you still ended up with 65 people.
Yeah. Everyone responded yes. They're all coming.
And is this going to be at like a park like you've done in the past?
No, we're doing it at the trampoline joint.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Do people have to pay their own admission, or are you footing the bill for everybody?
You pay your own way.
You rent. Oh, they have to pay their own way.
Yeah, I'm not stroking.
I
a check
agree
for
with that.
65 people.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't sure. Does Hannah agree with that?
Yeah, as far as I know, I haven't heard anything different. I mean, we'll get the pizzas and the cake and stuff, but yeah, I'm not paying your way into Sky Zone.
Hosted party, though. I mean, some people might expect that because they get invited to the party that it's included.
I'm not paying your way, so you can decline the invite. I'd prefer it actually, but
trim that list down a little bit.
65 people is a lot for a 6-year-old's birthday.
A ton.
Now that's 65 total.
It's with parents.
Not 65 kids plus parents.
Plus, it's everybody in total. And I did say, all right, well, if we're going to do this again, you can't hit me later on that night with we're never doing this bit again. Because you do it every year and it just gets bigger and bigger. It's going to be like Bocella pretty soon when he's 18. The field in Indio for all the people that want to come to his birthday party.
Do you want another sad Ben childhood story?
Almost more than
I think after I was about 10 or 11, I stopped really having birthday parties because I was worried that no one would come.
Oh, no, Ben.
God, why do you do this?
Yeah, imagine your friends like forgetting your birthday.
We did forget his birthday last year.
It's not that I just wasn't that popular or cool in elementary school. And you hate to invite like some of the popular kids and then they don't come to your birthday party.
Well, even worse, they come and call you Big
Bo,
Ben, the fat
Bo
hen.
doesn't have that worry. He's got to be the coolest kid in all of Encinitas.
He's got some, he's like anybody. He's people he likes, people he doesn't like.
No, but does anyone not like him?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've run into that before.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
People don't like Bo Woods.
Yeah, it's going to get worse for him, too.
Wow.
As long as this old man stays on the air, it's going to get way worse for him, I'm sure. But he's pretty grounded. He can handle it. Is that right? So you just said don't make a party for me this year?
Yeah.
At what age?
We just kind of, I probably about 11 or 12, I decided I wasn't trusting that any of the 5th or 6th graders would really want to come to Ben's birthday party.
That breaks my heart.
Not too bad.
This is why I took you to Explicit. This is why I want to take you to Explicit again. This is why I want to throw a big party for you and invite the whole city there and have Van Halen play. Like, that's why I want that for you, because it breaks my heart in two. I'm very, very sad.
I'm not
Benny
the same.
For the rest of the show.
I'm not that kid, though, that I used to be.
You're not.
I was then, but now I'm not.
Oh, God, it gives me hives. These
Birthday,
stories.
November 6th?
If I had a giant birthday party,
November 3rd.
I think
I knew. I was with.
I feel like we could make it a
What's my
huge
birthday?
deal, and I think what's your birthday is September 17th,
15th,
19th,
No.
14th.
There it is. So we were both 3 days off.
Yours is the day
Yeah.
before my wife's birthday.
Yes. But Benny Palooza on November 23rd.
I think with friends, obviously, like wife and your kids, you need to know the exact date. With friends, I know Woods is, I think, July 19th.
Yes. Nailed it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you've got the month and the general, like, week, like later in
We
the month
totally
of
forgot
that
yours.
month, yeah, I think you're pretty good. That you're a responsible friend.
Except for this last year. No, I got an idea. Happens every year after the World Series. About a week after the World Series, we all get together, the three of us, and we go, "What the f are we gonna do until the new year?"
Yeah,
and we struggle. And all we do is really in the back of our heads is we're planning the extravaganza.
Sure.
We're gonna have November 3rd. Benny Palooza.
It's happening.
And then we're going to take the next month and a half off.
Right, 6 weeks off.
Planning the extravaganza.
Yeah, Adam will love
the Christmas and holiday extravaganza. We're just going to have two massive blowouts. And we'll talk to you guys
I'm
on
like Peter Seidler.
January 3rd.
All I want for my birthday, a parade.
That's it. Just a parade.
A parade.
Okay. Oh,
he wants a World Series parade.
Well,
it's the right time for it.
It is.
Literally could be on my birthday. If the Padres ever won the World Series,
yeah,
the parade would probably be on my birthday or within a day of my birthday. Can I have a float in the World Series parade as part of my birthday party?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the players
Don't
are on
ask
one,
me,
the coaches are on a float,
Ben
and then
on
there's
another
Ben's
one.
birthday float that's trailing along at the World Series parade.
Tier 1s will be invited. Yes, we will be having Benny Palooza this year. That is happening because we really blew it this last year.
All right, let's take a timeout.
The Rangers parade was on November 3rd.
See?
Oh, there you go.
The timing always works out pretty well. We did it later in the show. Let's give away those Doobie Brothers tickets.
The
We got a
Doobies.
couple more days. They go on sale tomorrow. You can win them, though, from Ben and Woods if you stick around for our next segment. Don't go away. We'll check traffic and be right back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We talked early in the show about Jim Harbaugh going to the Los Angeles Chargers. We did not at all mention what is probably just as big or a bigger story, and that is, well, who's going to replace him at Michigan?
Huge story.
And I think part of the reason is we all assume, because it just makes such perfect sense, that Sharon Moore, who was the interim coach when Harbaugh was suspended, I think he was 4-0.
Yeah, he was.
As interim head coach, offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, will get the job. And, the early reports are that Michigan has focused their efforts there. I don't know what that exactly means. I mean, contract negotiations already underway. You're doing more of a check. He already works for you. You can't imagine that there needs to be too much extensive work going into it. If that's who you want, makes all the sense in the world. The players know him. They seem to like him. It went well. He has no losses on his record. Probably can sell that to your fan base pretty easily as well, coming off a championship season. But I did see speculation that there were bigger names that would be interested in a job like Michigan. Even NFL coaches would consider leaving for a job like the Michigan Wolverines. I even saw Prime's name brought up, Deion Sanders. If you're really looking to make a splash in the college football world, could Deion go straight from Colorado after a year and go right to Michigan, top of the food chain in college football right now? I think ultimately they're going to end up with Moore as their head coach. And I think that's the right decision at this point. They've got a little grace period here. They just won a national championship.
When we started the show, we were talking about it. I said, well, I'm happy because Jim Harbaugh is gone from Michigan. But then it dawned on me, well, they just got their chip, and when you get your chip, you have that chip forever, and you get to beat your chest about that chip forever. And they were a really good football team, really, really good football team. While they're bummed to lose Jim Harbaugh, you are still in the afterglow, and you will be for a long time. I mean, really, that's a huge accomplishment, something that, I've gotten experience once with my favorite team, and it's been a long time coming. Probably will never see another one again. But I still have that one, and it's still 30 years later, I'm like, national champs, baby. And so guys are going to leave, guys that wanted to play there for Jim Harbaugh, but Ben, he's got a leg up on keeping guys. Sharon Moore does, because they played for him. They know him. They know what he's about.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I'm sure he's going working overtime to make sure that guys aren't like, well, I really want to play for Coach Harbaugh. I'm going Alabama or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, even Kalen DeBoer is having a tough time keeping guys at Alabama.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think the smartest move, obviously, is much continuity as you can get. Now, with Nick Saban and Jim Harbaugh both now gone in the same month, essentially.
Yeah.
What's your pecking order of college football, like coaches, superstars? Does it start with Kirby Smart with the national championships? Yeah. He's number one guy now.
Yeah. Then Marcus Freeman.
Wow. Who is like number two? Is it Prime now? I mean,
no,
he hasn't done enough, right? Is
maybe
it Dabo?
Maybe DeBoer, maybe Dabo. Who's got the chip?
Ryan Day.
Ryan Day. Who's got chips though?
Brian Kelly.
Who's got titles?
Not many.
Kirby.
There's not many. There's Dabo.
Kirby and Dabo.
There's Kirby. There might be one other coach out there, I think, but with Saban and obviously Coach O left a couple of years ago.
Does Day have a
No.
national? No. He can't even beat Michigan. Yeah.
It's not a lot.
It's Kirby.
Kirby's
at the top.
There's a bit of a vacuum when it comes to the college football coaching food chain.
Coaches.
I have, since the college football playoffs started in 2014, just listen to the schools. 2014, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, LSU, Alabama, Georgia. Those are your champions.
There you go.
Over the last 10 years.
Yeah, and a couple of those head coaches aren't even there anymore.
Right.
So
yeah. So I mean, you take out Saban. There's just Kirby Smart, Dabo. Who
Kirby's the class of college football right now, for sure.
Yeah. Who won with Ohio State? Was
as
that,
Adam
that was,
smugly walks by the window.
Yeah. Mr. Georgia Bulldog.
Bulldog himself.
Knowing there's very little to stand in Georgia's way.
Yep.
Of really putting together a dynasty for the next few years. I mean, unless, Kalen DeBoer can continue his magic in Alabama.
That remains to me one of the most interesting storylines in college football next year. Who walks into Tuscaloosa and goes, "Oh, this is my new office." It was Nick Saban's office. Like, bro, it's the biggest shoes in college football.
Does he get Nick Saban's office?
100%.
Or does he get his
100%.
I think that might they were going to close this door off.
I mean, if Moore
like
gets
Elvis's bedroom.
if Moore gets hired, essentially Day and Moore, the coaches at the two biggest Big Ten schools, fell into the job.
Right.
Both of them just fell into the job.
Yeah, because no one expected Nick Saban to walk away.
Lincoln Riley could have jumped up, but instead took a huge step back this year at USC.
Yep.
Dan Lanning is the coach at Oregon.
He's a rising star, certainly, but
he is. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup, though.
Very good.
I don't know.
Really?
Man, is it the program or is it him, though? I don't trust that it's him. The program is what Oregon is good. That's what makes Oregon
him, man.
great.
I thought he clowned out a little bit last year, but I like that dude a lot. I would rather have him over DeBoer, personally.
Really?
Yeah, if it was my school, I'd rather have him over Kalen DeBoer in a heartbeat. Yeah, I like him. I like Lanning a lot. I think he's a really good coach. I'll take Marcus Freeman over the lot.
You do like yourself some Marcus Freeman.
I give him tons of. He gets a lot of leeway with me. I really love that.
You are a very generous Notre Dame fan.
Very.
You don't expect
not a damn thing.
National champion. You're actually happy if they don't get in the college football playoff.
It was terrible. It's the worst thing ever.
Every college football coach wishes their fan base was just like Woods.
Bro, I got mine, and I got you give me about 9 wins a year. You beat USC. Like, what am I I have nothing to complain about. Nothing. Zero. I love it. And it's like the one aspect of my life where I don't expect more. I just don't. I'm happy with what I have. I'm like, this is great. I don't need any more.
AJ Preller's going, why can't he be that way with me?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, get the World Series, and I will be. I promise you.
So yesterday, Woods took us down a pretty incredible rabbit hole.
Got a lot of good feedback on that one, man.
The Coronado Company. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't call this necessarily a rabbit hole, but you were showing me like Mud, showing me some YouTube videos before the show, and since it is baseball related, I think you need to explain to everybody when we come back why you've gotten so intrigued by Japanese baseball, and especially in the last 24 hours. Fair enough?
Absolutely, and I think as with most things, I'm late to this party. There's a podcast. I can't wait to play you some of this. If you're a baseball fan, you're going to love this. Many of you probably already know about it.
Right now, though, as promised, Doobie Brothers tickets. We're giving away a pair right now. Fifth caller, 833-288-0973. Giving away all week. They're going to be performing live at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on June 25th. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. But win them right now. Call 833-288-0973. Good luck. And we'll be right back with more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Does everyone understand what an embargo is? Or do I need to Bensplain?
I would say Bensplain it.
So, something
Can
cool.
we even talk about this? Isn't this embargoed?
No, I can say something cool is coming down.
Oh, okay.
But it's embargoed until 10 o'clock this morning. So we can't talk about it yet. But I can
People
tell
love that.
you, I can tell you to be on the lookout at 10 a.m. for something cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think
I know
that's
that's
fair.
kind of a tease with no substance to it. But
Something
I'd
cool.
rather know that something cool is coming than not know that it's coming.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ruining the surprise for anybody. I've left this pretty open-ended as to what it could be. I've given you no indication whatsoever as to what it may be. But when you
For a
see
second
it,
there, I was like, has he lost his mind?
I thought I was thinking the same thing.
when you see
were
it,
literally
we were just told, don't say anything.
Don't talk about this. And
But I'm
Ben
not
goes,
talking
"Hey,
about it."
Guess what, everybody?
You're telling people that we're going to talk about something, but we can't talk about it yet. But just be ready. At
well,
10.
we're not going to talk about it at all. Our
Okay.
show will be over.
Yeah, it's true. It's not Cody Bellinger.
But Annie and Elston can talk about it.
Yeah.
And you may see stuff about it on our social media channels after the show.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Just one that sometimes happens in radio, in media. You get news, but they say, hey,
We love to announce
it's
stuff.
embargoed until 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Of course.
But they want you to be prepared
Yeah,
for it
long
so
tease.
you can plan.
Yeah, I hate it.
And that happens in this business occasionally.
Yes, it does.
All right, let's check traffic. Then Woods is going to tell us a little bit about what he has learned about a very different way to approach the game of baseball than what we do in this country.
I think that's fair.
Coming up after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by San Diego Imperial Valley high-intensity drug trafficking areas. Well, a little relief for you on the coastline. All lanes now open. Southbound 5 just past Del Mar Heights Road. They had 2 right lanes shut down all morning for investigation of a fatal accident. So speeds are slowly getting back to normal. But again, all lanes open south 5 past Del Mar Heights. A couple of problems along the 78. One is a collision on the eastbound side right before the 15. It's over the right shoulder. And westbound 78, just before Vista Village, there's a collision in the center divide. Keep in mind the county getting hit with some scattered showers, light rain, drizzle, so might leave us with some slick conditions. Just take it extra carefully out there. And guys, have your headlights on so you're more visible to other drivers. It's still pretty gray out there. Drugs today are different. Fentanyl is often mixed into pills, disguised to look like prescription medications. It's important to listen to your kids and what they know about drugs. Talk to your kids. Don't let time run out. Start the conversation. Go to thetimeisnowsd.org. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Tune in to kick off with Boomer and Valenti every Friday. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. It is free on the Odyssey app as they do all their picks and break down all the games. Conference Championship Week. Casamigos Tequila brings you the program. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it, and by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. I see, obviously, I've created some rampant speculation with my embargo talk. It's never like player news is not
No.
stuff that's embargoed. It's different stuff than that. So I just don't want people thinking
should
like,
just
oh, a
probably move
trade's
on.
going to be announced or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Like when our boss tells us about something and says, don't talk about this until 10 a.m., we probably shouldn't even.
I'm not talking about it. I haven't said anything at all.
Okay.
Could be anything.
Somebody said in the chat, Ben's definition of cool is different than other people's definition of cool. I think you'll like this, though. I do. That I will agree with. And that's all we can really say about it.
We've said too much.
You've said too much. It's top secret, apparently. Good Lord. I'm usually late to things. It's kind of a thing with me. Hey, this movie is great. This show is great. Yeah, I'm going to give it a little time. And I feel like I was late to the party on this, but you guys had never heard of this either. There's a Twitter account and a YouTube show.
I've seen shorts on YouTube.
So it's called Baseball Doesn't Exist. Okay? I don't really know the reasoning behind that. Funny, catchy, makes you think, I guess. I don't know. Baseball Doesn't Exist is a podcast on YouTube. It's also a Twitter feed. You can follow them at Baseball Doesn't. And Dallas Braden, I think, is a part. He does some stuff with them. We've had Dallas on the show many, many times. But, man, I'd seen enough clips being circulated about it. I went, all right, I'm gonna go check this thing out. And their latest piece, Ben, is an hour-long segment on how Japan took over baseball. And they explain in it when, as you've seen, Shohei Ohtani getting the biggest contract ever, Yamamoto getting a huge, huge contract. These guys went and they did a massive, massive deep dive. The audio doesn't do it as much justice as sitting and watching the video. Now, I was listening to it driving to work this morning, so even I haven't seen all of the video associated with. The audio is compelling as hell. I had Paulie pull a clip I wanted to play for you guys. I believe, is this how it starts?
This is literally the first 2 minutes.
First 2 minutes of it. Check this out.
Baseball in Japan has things that in America you will never see. They have managers of the team being introduced on hovercrafts, teams, star players being ziplined through the stadium hundreds of feet in the air before games, and even ceremonial first pitches where players kiss the person throwing the pitch, and even sometimes their own teammates. Based on this, it's somewhat hard to believe that Japanese baseball culture is one of the most cutthroat in the world, creating some of the most disciplined athletes on earth, a system where high school coaches can make over 200 grand.
So if the way they start, obviously, by saying, look, there's a video. Look how fun this is. Look at Japanese professional baseball.
And I've seen that before.
Oh,
I saw
yeah.
the hoverboard video and the fan atmosphere, and I knew that about Japanese baseball.
There was a manager. He used to play in the big leagues. He's from Japan. He changed his name officially to like Boss Daddy in Japan. Boss Daddy. He's also designs clothing. He's the one that came in on the hovercraft to start. So think about that. The first thing they talk about is how fun and lighthearted they are about it.
Big Boss.
Big Boss. That's right. What did I say? Big Daddy?
Boss Daddy.
Boss Daddy. All right. Think about how fun, exciting, kind of lighthearted it is. They have a comedy troupe out there throwing out the first pitch, dressed in a wig. The hitter hits it. They run out. They kiss each other. They threaten to fight. It's like the WWE.
Yeah, you feel like
WWE.
maybe it's more Savannah Bananas
yes,
than Major League Baseball like sometimes.
Well, then you hear this.
A system where high school coaches can make over 200 grand a year. At some schools, kids are expected to practice 8 hours a day. High school tournaments are so important, players play through career-threatening injuries, and after losing, are expected to cry. Students go through months and months of intense training like this, and these aren't even baseball players. This is the cheering section. They are training to cheer for the baseball team, who practices even harder. According to Ichiro, the training regimen he was put through as a child was so intense, he only had 5 to 6 hours to hang out with friends in an entire year. The most pitches thrown by a pitcher in MLB last season was 117. At an elite high school in Japan, pitchers were expected to throw 200 pitches every other day. Life around baseball is so strict and regimented, even professionals are expected to live in team dormitories full-time, where in some past cases, players who break curfew were even beaten by their own managers, a practice that became so common throughout all levels of baseball in Japan that in 2021, the Human Rights Watch organization had to release a report just to address it.
So, it goes on and on. I made it about 20 minutes through. I got 40 minutes left of this. It's one of the weird paradoxes that it's so fun and lighthearted, but when you hear, Ichiro, he got 5 or 6 hours per year to hang out with his friends. Are
they really your friends at that point? If you're only hanging out with someone for 5 hours per year,
it's not by choice.
How good of a friend are they?
It's not by choice. But the funny thing is, man, and I started thinking about my own experience. So I'm our friend John Boggs is Ichiro. He represents Ichiro in some different capacities now, and his son Steve is my friend, and I've talked to Steve about Ichiro.
Do you hang out with him about 5 or 6 hours a year?
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
Now that I have 2 kids, it's about 5 or 6 hours a year. It's not because of my intense training regimen, though. And he was telling me, he goes, dude, you've never seen somebody that misses the game more than Ichiro. And he's playing against like high school girls. He's pitching at all these different things. It's all consuming to them. And I obviously, you think about when you hear these stories of how they treat kids in the tournament. There's a video at one point, a kid dislocating his shoulder and like going off the field, and the coach like pops it back in, and he's crying, and he runs back out. There's another story in there, you guys. You have to watch it. 2 teams playing in a high school game. One team is losing 82-0. 82-0, and guys are stealing bags the whole time. They're up 65-0, and they're stealing bags. One kid on the team that's getting spanked has a heat stroke. He has suffers from heat exhaustion, but they didn't have any subs, so he had to suck it up and go back, even down 82-0. So I'm sitting here going, all right, well.
And then after the game, was that the team that made his team run 10 miles because they lost?
I don't think in that it was that one.
It was that game, but that happens too.
That happens too.
Sprints over and over again.
I'm sitting here looking at it going, all right, well, you can understand. I don't know. I'm taking these guys at their word. It looks like they've done an extensive amount of research. There's video to back up a lot of what they're talking about. But it was really fascinating, and it makes me want to talk to this guy. It makes me want to watch more of their content, because I'm telling you, man, an hour on this it feels like it's not enough. So I can't wait to get through the rest of it today.
The question, though, is it effective?
That's the thing.
Does it make better players? Obviously, practice makes perfect, and people who practice more and put more hours into something tend to get more proficient at what they are doing. However, at the levels that you're talking about, that they're talking about on this podcast, 200 pitches every other day, is that really wise, safe, or productive for young arms? And is it actually producing more talent? Now, you can't argue with Ichiro and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto. And there are lots of good Asian players, but it's not like 78% of the big leagues is Asian.
Right.
There's still a lot of great players from this country and Latin American countries as well that don't go through those intense training regimens and still produce incredible players and athletes.
So the reason that they do it like this is the way they explained it. They did not have a word in Japanese for sport. Everything that they did as competition, horseback riding, sword fighting, sumo wrestling, those were all military trainings. So those were all some facet of the military. When they got baseball, they ran it like it was a military, and they put these guys through the paces every day. Now, I mean, look, I'm not sending my kid to do that. There's no way. There's no way. But I don't know. Where is the burnout factor? Is there a burnout factor?
No,
over
there's
there?
absolutely a burnout factor.
Yeah, because it's not like they all
no
make the
doubt
big
about
ones.
it. You know what's interesting, and this is me speculating, but in baseball, obviously, it's a sport where it's you against someone else, and as much as you train as a hitter, the pitcher is training as well, and it's an individual battle every single time. One sport where you see that, and they have the same type of intense training regimens, but you're not going up against really anyone else. You're just going up against yourself, is golf. And if you've noticed, like the LPGA Tour and now on the PGA Tour is increasingly loaded with Asian players who are having a lot of success. I've heard stories of, parents who have their, 7-year-old girls who practice for 10, 12 hours a day on the golf course, for years and years to end up on the LPGA Tour. We're now seeing many of the top PGA Tour stars that are winning majors now. That work is paying off in golf and certainly making Japan and other areas of Asia a much bigger player in golf.
Well, and it's so funny.
Is baseball going in the same direction?
It's so funny because you're seeing the highest paid players now are Japanese, and that's just a fact. And you do wonder what it's going to look like in 10 years, 15, 20 years. If they keep doing it this way. Obviously, you can't beat the children if they don't perform. That's not going to fly.
You can,
but you
think
shouldn't.
It's a great idea.
Correct.
You shouldn't do that.
Well, they do, and they did. But we make such a big deal in America about a Tiger Woods or a guy, a guy that goes out and has this insane work ethic. They all have this. That's the weird thing. Every single one of them has this work ethic.
So
they don't have a choice.
I was 11 years old when Ichiro came to Major League Baseball and signed with the Mariners. And if I remember correctly, it was definitely, I remember hearing stuff like that,
Yeah.
but it was kind of portrayed as it was Ichiro's choice. And all he wanted to do was be a Major League Baseball player. Him and his dad would work, 12 hours a day. As soon as he got out of school, he was throwing and all that. I didn't know that it was just like that for everybody.
Militaristic for the elite of the elite. That's how they roll. It's wild.
When I heard you saying 200 pitches every other day, I could see Goose Gossage like nodding, like, oh yeah, I like that. But as
You're a nerd too.
as Rioni points out in the chat, you remember Shohei Ohtani on his second Tommy John surgery,
Yeah,
or
but so
something at this. So are a lot of other
many
guys,
American players too.
But keep in mind, you're not invulnerable to injuries.
No, they're not. It doesn't
with
make you
all this
immortal.
work.
No,
It does not.
Absolutely,
none of it
not.
does.
Man, it's a good podcast. I cannot wait to get through the rest. And if we could find him and get him on, I would be all about it.
All right, Reindl Report headlines. We got more Throwback Thursday coming up. Final hour of Ben and Woods next year on 97.3 The Fan.
Got a DM from our friend Laura that says, I just heard your voice clearly outside my garage. I was like, And the Safe Light guy who just showed up is rocking a Padres hat and blaring you guys from his truck. So shout out to you, Padres fan who works at Safe Light. We appreciate
Safe Light
you.
Repair, Safe Light Replace. Not a sponsor of the show, but a jingle that I've never gotten out of my head.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So shout out to you, Mr. Safe Light. Thanks for listening to Ben and Woods in the morning.
They do keys and stuff, right? What is the company? Windshields?
I think windshields.
Windshields.
Yeah, I've gone there before. Safe Light Repair. Yeah, it's windshield repair.
Windshield repair. Okay.
Yeah. Would you say keys?
Key. I thought they were key like locksmiths.
Locksmiths.
I don't know. Safe Light.
Does it say safe key?
I don't know.
Key safe?
I guess I was confused.
Well, shout out to you, my friend. Thanks for listening. And I wish I had more Padres news for you.
Maybe I was thinking like a safe, like it's open and you lock a safe and you open it safe.
No, they do windshield.
Windshield stuff.
Yeah. I got a crack in mine. A pebble got me and Paulie on the drive home from Arizona.
Like the second we got on the road.
Yeah, chip.
Ah.
Cool. Again.
Yeah, not your first.
Nope.
Well, you know who to call.
I do. Safe Light Repair. That's exactly right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you listening.
Let's just get right to some Reindl Report headlines, shall we?
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Oh, by the way, before you get started, I just want to point out thank you to Chris in the chat and the dozens of people who took pictures of the Cheetahs advertisement being flown over the Farmers Insurance Open and made sure I was aware of that yesterday. I do appreciate y'all looking out for me. San Diego, you've got my back.
Hey there, Delilah.
People were tagging you in
Oh,
it?
yes. Multiple.
How did I miss this?
Multiple tags
My wife
of
showed
the
me
banner, the plane.
Bernie Wilson posted
Yeah.
the banner flying. I don't remember what he wrote. And Megan just was like paging Ben Higgins.
Oh, my.
Megan's in on it, too.
That's your new
You've
rep.
now trained all of San Diego. When
love
they
it.
think...
When they think Ben
adult
Higgins.
entertainment, they now think Ben Higgins. So thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Oh, man.
Please do it again today. And tag me in it as well. I need to see this. I missed all of this. Damn it.
They knew I'd be out there,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
were looking to target some targeted advertising works.
You can count on that plane every year. Every year that plane is flying over the Farmers Insurance Open.
So we'll start in the NFL. Saw this this morning from the Detroit Lions. These are my favorite stories in sports. You know how we'll talk about you win your fantasy football league, players have their charities. Donate a little bit of your winnings to their charities, or you'll
I feel
see
like
it
our
when
pal Michael Gelkin was big in getting that spread around the country.
Yep. You see that all the time. You've seen like when DeMar Hamlin got hurt last year.
No, he
people
died. Yeah.
Died
Right.
and then was revived.
Right. Got hurt, rolled his ankle.
Fair enough. He
He
died
died.
and was resuscitated.
Woods, you're probably right on this.
And how many NFL fans rallied together, donated his cause? You'll see it when teams lose. The winning team's fan base sometimes will help out. I love those stories. So listen to what Detroit Lions fans did. Their center, Frank Ragnow, was talking to the media yesterday. He said that he sprained both his knee and his ankle in Sunday's win, and he did not miss one snap.
No, he said he would not. They said he would not come out of the game.
Was he a Japanese high school baseball player?
He would not come out of the game. They were talking about it on the broadcast, like he's getting trucked right now, and he will not come out of the game.
And so Lions fans were so happy with that news when they heard it, they donated to his charity. And listen to what he said yesterday at his press conference.
I talked to someone with the foundation yesterday, and it was over 20 grand. So hats off to Lions fans. That's like completely unnecessary, but so special, and it just speaks to this how great this community is and how supportive these fans are. Again, it's been a fun ride.
I love that.
20 grand.
Now, did you? I mean, that's good. It's really good. But did you hear what happened in Buffalo?
Yes.
So
the
kicker, Tyler Bass, obviously missed that kick.
Couldn't remember if we talked about him.
I don't
the
think
other
we.
day.
I don't think we mentioned
I meant
it.
to bring it up, but he, missed the kick. It was brutal experience for him. Young kid, and goes to his Instagram and is getting death threats on his Instagram. Now, my gut tells me it's 95% gamblers that did that to him, and not Bills fans. There's a-holes in every fan base. There's no question. And there's people you wonder, do you even like this team, right? Like, because I promise you, man, if Manny lets a ball roll through his legs to lose a big game, I'm not sending him a death threat. I love him. I root for him. Does that make me that makes me a good fan to not threaten people with death over a football game or a baseball game? So this guy had to deactivate. Well, Bills Mafia heard about it, as did the Chiefs fans, and they went and donated $100,000 to 10 Lives Club. It's a cat adoption center near Buffalo in his name. Most money they've ever raised in a 48-hour period.
That's awesome.
Bummer that he had to deactivate. That stuff sucks, man. I can't, that's...
I mean, can you imagine if Twitter was around when Scott Norwood missed
Bill
his,
Buckner?
Leon Lett.
Yeah.
I mean, how brutal it would have been
Bill
for
Buckner,
those guys. Oh.
Bill, it would have been... And the Boston fans? Oh, my God. Would have been over. Would have been over. I mean, it was tough for him anyway. Yeah, it was really tough for him anyway. But, I thought that was...
Was Steve Bartman post-Twitter, or was that
pre-Twitter,
early?
I think.
Pre-Twitter. 02, 03.
Yeah. I mean, that ruined that guy's life.
Probably got some bad messages on MySpace, maybe.
Yeah, maybe MySpace or something. Yeah, it was rough.
Deactivate his Friendster account.
It's just a good rule of thumb. Just like, unless it's good, I really feel like unless it's positive, don't tag a player or his wife or his, whatever. Unless it's positive, like, hey, great play at Manny Machado. It's never going to happen, but just a good rule of thumb.
All right, moving on. I think Woods has already mentioned this year that he has a new favorite basketball player. And if I'm wrong, I think I can sell you now. Victor Wembanyama. He is fun to watch, man. One of the most exciting draft picks in NBA history. The 7-footer for the San Antonio Spurs. And there was a piece in The Athletic written by Mike Monroe, who covers the Spurs. And the headline is, Victor Wembanyama's NBA adjustment hasn't been lickety-split, but I can get so much better. And if you read through the story, get a little ways down, a member of the Spurs, he's the Spurs director of basketball communications, Jordan Howenstein. He had some quotes for The Athletic. And here's what it says. It says, so focused is Wembanyama on his health and well-being that Spurs staffers are advised never to call him at his home after 9:30 p.m.
I like that.
Quote, that's when he reads for an hour, then he goes to sleep.
You don't find a lot of disciplined young... You don't find a lot of discipline... How old is he? 20?
20, maybe
20, 21? You don't find a lot of that disciplined 21-year-old professional athletes, is my guess.
He's 20.
20.
Just turned 20.
Just turned 20.
3 weeks ago, by the way.
So he likes to shut it down, get his head right, read for an hour before bed. Don't call him. Do not bother him before that. It's the same for me.
But don't call him at all. Just text if you have something to send him, and he can look at it.
Don't bother him.
He can look at it at his leisure. Why are you calling him
leisure.
to begin with?
I like that you said that. I like it better than leisure. I love leisure. It sounds classier.
It rhymes with pleasure.
Yeah.
So you like it
Call
better.
me at your leisure.
What is... as I mentioned the other day, I started watching some Curb Your Enthusiasm with my son.
Finally.
And first season, what's the cutoff? And it was 9:30. Like,
how late? Forgot about that one.
How late can you call? What's the cutoff?
I mean, unless it's an emergency. In my house, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock
is
your cutoff.
Don't bother me after
8
8. Unless it's like you're sick and you're sick and we need to make other plans.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
8. My kids go to bed at 6:30. So
I essentially have almost no cutoff.
You have no cutoff.
It's midnight to 5 a.m. It's really the only time I don't want you to call me.
And every now
But
and
I've
then,
never really had a big problem with people defying that cutoff.
Do
either.
you keep your phone on silent at night?
No.
You don't?
No.
Because I've texted the thread at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I mean, it's always on silent. It'll buzz, and
You
a
get a
buzz
buzz.
doesn't wake me up.
Okay.
I've got my focus settings set on my iPhone for like. Of course you don't. You can set it so like at a certain time of day, your phone will turn on to do not disturb mode.
I did not know
And
that.
then you can even set it beyond that
that's
to
why yours,
sleep mode.
That's why yours says Paul has notifications
silence,
silence. It bugs me every time I text Paulie and it comes back. I'm like,
You thought it was just for you?
I thought it was just for me. Yeah,
No, that's
I'm
for
like, son
everybody.
of a bitch.
And
man.
then you can
Silence Woods texts.
You can
Click.
edit it so like if you add contacts to your favorites, like your family or guys that you work with or whatever, you can add them to your favorites, and then you can change the settings like accept a call from these people if
only?
it's even on my,
All right.
if I'm in sleep mode, these people call, it'll ring. It'll wake you up.
Okay.
Or if they call twice in a row or something like that, twice within 30 seconds,
Now I know.
that's clear it's an emergency.
Should over text him.
I'm gonna block your number.
It says send. You can say hit send anyway. Yeah, which I always do.
That's why they come through.
That's right.
Even after
That's
do
right.
not disturb mode.
Oh, Wemby, I like that. That bodes well for the
Get
young
him some
man.
help. They're 8-36. Get the guy some help so you can get him in some significant games because you won't see him in the playoffs this year.
Well,
That's
at least
for
he's
sure.
rested. He's well rested.
At 20 years old, 19 when he was drafted, came over from France. This story goes on. It talks about how his intellect and maturity are evident from the first time you meet him. He's already more fluent in English than most foreign-born players, and he has quickly picked up on American idioms and sports speak and all that. So there was a story where somebody asked him if he was starstruck last month when he got to go up against his idol, LeBron James. Got to be on the same court and play against him. And he said, starstruck, what is this word? I don't know. And the reporter said, it's kind of like seeing a star like people are when they see you. And he started thinking about it, and he goes, low-key.
Low-key?
He knew,
look at him.
I love it.
I don't know how to use that phrase. Low-key is one of the ones that I'm not good at. Word is another one I see people say word, and I'm like, I don't know how to use it. Like, I want to tweet, like, low-key something, but I know that I'll do it wrong, so I just don't.
If something's low-key, you probably shouldn't be tweeting it. It's low-key.
But I see it all the time. Low-key, well, I guess, like, low-key excited about this.
Understated, right? Understated?
Yeah, I think so. I just, I feel like an old dad if I speak like that.
Wow, that's low-key very cool.
Low-key, very cool. Low-key, that's a cool hat.
Low-key is different than, like, down low.
Right.
Keep it on the down low. Don't tweet that.
Like what Adam told you, don't say anything about the
Keep that on the down low.
Embargoes are on the down
low-key,
low.
I'm excited
I think
about
the
that.
embargoed announcement is low-key, kind of exciting.
Pretty cool. There you go.
I mean, it's not major earth-shattering news, but low-key, it's pretty cool.
Word.
We figured it out. Word. All right. Finally, earlier this week, the Oscar nominees were announced, and there was outrage like you would not believe.
Some hubbub around it.
Oh, my God.
Mrs. Woods was very upset as well.
I was upset.
She said,
I think anybody that watched the movie should be upset.
Oh, of course. And I just sat quietly and ate my tuna sandwich.
So, Barbie is kind of where we're focused here.
That's the focus.
One of the biggest movies of the year.
Have not seen it yet. I hear it's great.
I saw it. It's phenomenal.
Okay.
I would highly recommend it. Here's the problem. It was nominated for Best Picture,
Okay.
but Greta Gerwig, who directed it,
Correct.
was not nominated for Best Director.
Okay.
Margot Robbie, who was Barbie,
Crushed it, I heard.
was amazing.
She should just win one every year for anything.
Yeah, I would.
If I was giving them away, she would always be my Oscar.
She wasn't
winner.
nominated for Best Leading Actress.
She's Australian, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling was nominated.
He was
for
nominated.
Best Supporting Actor.
He was Ken.
released a statement. He goes, "There's literally no Ken without Barbie. This is absurd." Now, there was a female nominee from the movie. America Ferrera was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but people lost their mind, and it is a bit ironic if you watch the movie, which again I would recommend. It's really good. It's all about women going up against the patriarchy.
Right.
That's the entire premise of the 2-hour movie.
And
or
then
however
he
long it
gets
is.
the nom, and she doesn't.
And I go,
And they don't.
they are up to something.
I did see Gerwig did get nominated, I believe, for written screenplay. So she wrote it and directed it. She just didn't get the director nod. You know, so there's at least, you hate to be like, oh, here's your consolation prize. I mean,
It's total consolation.
The movie was wildly successful. Wildly successful.
Now, was it better? Well, okay. I will follow the argument that if something is nominated for the best picture, it's kind of weird when the director is not nominated, because the director is obviously the most essential part of a movie in making it into a good movie. I mean, it's hard to overcome a bad director, and have a really great movie that is like a best picture nominee.
Ben, let me try to compare it to sports for you.
Right.
Do it in
If
sports.
the Padres went to the World Series and maybe didn't win, but they were one of the 2 best teams of the entire year, and there was an award for Best President of Baseball Operations, you would think out of 5 nominations, AJ Preller would be one of them.
I will agree with
because
that.
Barbie and Oppenheimer, and there's probably a couple of more, but I'm thinking Barbie and Oppenheimer, off the top of my head, 2 of the biggest movies of the year, most successful movies of the year, and to not give the architect of said movie even a nomination.
And so I agree with that. On the actor and supporting actress, or actress and supporting actor thing, you're kind of comparing apples to oranges. You're not saying that she wasn't as good as he was in the movie. You're just saying that he was better than
the other guys.
The other guys who were supporting actors in their movies. And you were saying, and whether it's, I haven't seen all the movies, so I can't give you an opinion. You're just saying she wasn't as good as 5 other women were who were leading actresses in their movies. It's not saying, oh, this guy was so much better than she was in the movie. That's not saying, you're not saying that in nominations. You're not. It's comparing apples to oranges.
But Greta's got a legit beef.
I think so.
Legit beef.
Yeah. As for the actress and actor thing, I mean that's obviously opinion,
and it's all opinion. It's all subjective.
But you can nominate the guy for the movie and say, I think he was one of the 5 best supporting actors in all movies that I saw, and it's not a disrespect to the actress who wasn't nominated. It's just
now see, the way you just put that makes me.
I just don't know who were the other 5 actresses nominated. Were they better or not as good as her? It doesn't have anything to do with whether you liked the movie or you thought that movie was particularly better. They're trying to determine what the 5 best acting performances by a female was that year.
Ken gets nominated, Barbie doesn't, which was, again, kind of the point of the movie.
I see the irony to it.
Yeah, it's ironic.
Your nominees for Best Actress in a Leading Role were Annette Bening, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Huller, Carey Mulligan, and Emma Stone.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only seen Killers of the Flower Moon. Lily Gladstone was fantastic. I know that. I think she deserved to be nominated. But again, didn't see enough movies to really have a valid opinion on it.
Fair. Thank you, Paulie.
You're welcome.
So maybe one of the more overplayed throwbacks in Ben and Woods. Well, I mean, just in terms of quantity.
Excuse me?
I'm not judging one way or the other. But it was a year ago this week where a fairly iconic bit made its debut on Ben and Woods.
We haven't played it enough, as far as I'm concerned.
Again, it's quantity, not judgmental overplay. Coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Let's check some track. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan. While you're listening, you can see what you missed. Click to listen on demand. Go back, and if it's an interview, a feature, whatever, we've got you covered. Download the free Odyssey app, search 97.3 The Fan, and tap earlier today to get started. Now, if you want to go back further, helps to have a good Paul Reindl around.
It's imperative
to rewind. He's like a human Odyssey app for this show.
The human rewind function.
And all I have to do is tap Paulie over there, and he will go back in time to wherever we want him to go back to. And on Thursdays, Throwback Thursdays, we go back to sometime like this day in Ben and Wood's history, or on this week in Ben and Wood's history, and bring back some of our favorite moments. We already had the Dixie Normus from 5 years ago.
That 5 years ago?
4 years.
4 years ago.
God, it feels like yesterday.
It was January 2020.
Wow.
Now, this moment actually feels like longer than just 1 year ago here, late in January, Paulie?
1 year ago, like 2 days ago.
Could have sworn this was like 2 years ago at least. Does anybody remember Carving Guy?
Yeah, anybody heard of that?
Anyone remember that guy at all?
Never a bad time to revisit.
Why did we bring it up in the first place?
I don't know where you found it.
I was in bed on a Friday night.
Yep. We had just gotten back from fantasy camp.
Yep, and I ate a special treat that Paul had given me.
Like Rice Krispie treat?
If that helps you, yes, something to that effect. And I was lying in bed on a Friday night, exhausted. Hannah was dead asleep, and I don't know where I found it, but I came across the Old Country Buffet training video of the guy that was learning how to carve meat. And it's the video they put in for new carvers, and they want them to watch
So much
this.
more intricate, though, than what you'd think.
Oh, yeah, 100% it is. And it really opened up my eyes and my mind to all the possibilities that were out there.
Your other shift duties.
There you go.
We'll begin with your second shift duty, greeting and serving guests.
Very important.
Good evening. Fried enough to eat today? Boy, I'll say. Well, that's great. Would you care for ham or beef? A little both, I think. All right.
Making friendly conversations like this is a big part of greeting and serving guests. At other buffet-style restaurants, guests often feel they're on their own. Once they've paid for the meal, no one pays much attention to them.
What do they expect?
At Old Country Buffet,
Massage?
we work hard to make sure our guests never feel that way. As a carver, you spend a little more time with guests and other team members. That means you have a great chance to make them feel welcome and appreciated.
Pause. I don't want my carver talking a lot to me. I just want to get my meat and I want to get back. You don't need to rub me down or compliment me or anything. I just want to get my prime rib and I want to get the hell out of there and go sit down and eat it.
It's really...
Again, this is the training video.
Training video.
You've been hired. You're a new hire. And I don't know, I picture like a 20-year-old kid just sitting in an office.
Yeah. He's
filled out all his paperwork.
What did I get myself into?
I can appreciate not wanting to leave anything to chance.
Sure.
Like, you always overestimate what your employee may already know, what common sense they bring to the table.
Sure.
But when you're carving something for people, it should be fairly simple.
Well,
you carve slices of meat.
That should be the most important thing.
You probably ask them, do you want kind of a more done piece or a less done piece? You put it on their plate, and then they move on. And if they want a lot, you can put another one on their plate. But they go beyond in this training video.
By greeting the guest warmly and holding brief conversations as you serve them, you say to our guests, we're glad you're here. Let's take a closer look at greeting guests. Every conversation you hold with guests should begin something like this.
Good evening.
Or,
hi, how are you?
Once you've greeted the guest, start a brief
General salutation.
Okay, I can
Hi,
understand.
How are you? Hello.
I'm Old Country Buffet. I don't want my forward-facing employees to be jerks to the customers.
What do you want?
Ham
or beef?
But are we getting too specific in how you greet another human being?
Start a brief conversation. Try asking a question the guest can answer in a sentence or two. You might ask something like this.
Is it still hot out there?
Or this.
Did you catch a game last night?
Or this.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
Don't forget to...
I don't want my meat guy upselling the lasagna. Maybe you do because it's cheaper to make lasagna.
I guess what makes it so. This is a training video on how to make small talk. Essentially,
as Elisa says, it's meat micromanagement. That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. They're
Don't forget to
micromanaging.
hold quick conversations with our younger guests, too.
Oh, no.
Children often
Stay
play
away.
a big part in deciding which restaurant their parents visit.
Please
we
don't.
want them to feel
Pause.
welcome
When
and
I was a little
special
kid,
here.
When I was a little kid and I wanted to go eat places, I'll tell you why it wasn't. It wasn't because of the conversations I had with the carving guy. It was. They had a playground. They had hot fudge sundae. They had pizza that I liked. It wasn't. Hey, can we go back and see that carving guy that sliced me my ham?
He asked me so many questions.
I really loved when he creepily asked me the following.
So start conversations with children by saying something like this.
What grade are you in at school?
No,
Or
do
this.
not.
Have you decided what dessert you're going to have?
Why do you have
Or
that
this.
creepy lilt? Have you decided what kind of dessert you're going to have?
Have you decided what dessert you're going to have?
Or this.
Do you like hot fudge sundaes?
Once you've held a brief
Why?
conversation,
You
it's
like
time
hot
to move
fudge
on to the second half of this shift duty, serving the guests. Begin by asking,
Would you care for some ham or beef? Ham, please.
once guests have chosen what meat
why
they
does
want,
everybody in this video talk like that?
Everybody
Even the
does.
narrator.
Ham, please.
Ham, please.
Do you like ham or beef?
Horrible actors.
Would you like ham or beef?
Do you like hot fudge sundaes?
Do you like hot fudge sundaes?
Yeah. I mean, there's
Easy.
no.
like hot
Whoa,
fudge
my
sundaes?
voice just went up, though. Hang on. Do you like hot fudge
What's a
sundaes?
questions do generally end on a higher note.
It's the best piece of audio ever.
you'll
ever
carve a
created.
slice of it. Exactly what size of slice you'll
Yes.
serve will be a judgment call on your part,
Best.
unless the guest makes a special request. We don't limit the can have. We do, however, manage it to reduce waste.
Yes.
Here are some guidelines for knowing how much meat to serve a guest. When your guest's plate has very little on it, carve a full cut. Lay it over the bare portion of the plate. Children usually prefer smaller portions. Carve them a smaller cut. Place it on an open section of the plate.
Really?
If your guests
I was just going to throw it on top.
I thought I would drape it on the lasagna that I've just sold them.
If your guest's plate looks like this, a quarter cut or a half cut of the meat the guest requests. Sometimes guests will tell you exactly what size of cut or number of pieces they want.
It's murder.
Other guests will ask you to carve a slice thicker than our usual dime width.
Dime with.
These guests all feel they're getting more when getting a thicker cut. Actually, the thin cut ensures them a tender piece of meat, which is why we carve dime thicknesses. If a guest asks you,
I'd like a half-inch slice of that roast beef, please.
say something like this.
I'd be glad to carve you that. Thinner slices are more tender, though. Would that be all right? You can always come back up for more.
Okay.
Okay.
Least enthusiastic customer ever.
Can I have a half cut? Well, thinner or more tender. Will that be all
I'd like a
right?
half-inch slice of that roast beef, please.
Say something like this.
I'd be glad to carve you that. Thinner slices are more tender, though. Would that be all
What
right?
did I just say? I just want
You
a
can
half
always
cut.
come back up for more.
Okay.
It's so epic.
If you can actually carve a dime thickness with a
You're
knife,
pretty good.
oh, you need a deli slicer to get it to dime thickness.
Okay.
I was very. I've never laughed. I've honestly, because the audio is great, but the video with it, I was laughing so hard. I was and slobber coming out of my mouth. Hannah's dead asleep, and I'm trying not to wake her, and I am convulsing. And I texted it to you guys immediately, and you guys did not eat any special treats, and I did, and I just said just Monday. Just Monday. We will do it as soon as we get in, and we did, and I love it so much, and I don't get enough of it.
Wait, where am I supposed to put the meat again?
Yeah, right there on that open spot of the plate. Put it on his head so it's like a hat. Just incredible. Just incredible.
Oh, and that is Throwback Thursday
Unbelievable.
with Ben and Woods. All right, we'll come back. Final segment. Get you ready for Annie and Elston, who will be coming up at the top of the hour. Don't go away. It's Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Saw the BR Walkoff just tweeted, Ben Woods, by the way, 97.3 The Fan. BR Walkoff tweeted, the active player with the most home runs against every Major League Baseball team. So who is
the biggest
Padre
killer of them all? Currently active
active
in Major League Baseball.
I feel like this is a really easy one. I'll give you a hint. He's never played for the Padres, which is, those guys come in and murder.
I mean, mathematically that limits
tough,
the number of times you face the Padres.
For sure.
So it helps if you've obviously been up against them as much as possible.
He's never been a Padres draft pick. He's never been a Padres, young player. He's never
got to have been in the league for quite some time.
Yep.
I'm going, and probably in the NL West, I would imagine, for a significant amount of time because of the unbalanced schedule. Your mind immediately goes to Dodgers players, but they've had some fluctuations. Like Mookie hasn't been around long enough. Guys like that.
Freddie Freeman, yeah.
Not long enough.
Not long enough.
I mean, he doesn't hit that many home runs against everybody else, but my mind instantly goes to Charlie Blackmon.
Boom,
That's what I was
nailed it. You absolutely crushed it. It's a no-brainer.
Charlie field action there.
Charlie Blackmon with 34 home runs against the San Diego Padres.
Tonight. Yeah, just every time. It's like in my nightmares.
Some big numbers. Mike Trout against the Mariners. 54 bombs against the Mariners. Joey Votto.
Who's the biggest Dodger killer of them all? That's an interesting one.
Paul Goldschmidt, 33. 33 bombs against the Dodgers. Joey Votto owns quite a few teams, man. He owns the Cardinals.
The entire NL Central.
Yeah, 36. He has I can't tell who that is. I literally can't see what logo that is. And then there's another one. He owns the Cubs.
Any current or
bombs.
former Padres on the list for any of the teams? Like, did Manny own the Rays or something when he was in the AL East and still is ahead? Or
not one.
Not a single Padre on the list.
Not a single Padre on the list. Former Padre, Anthony Rizzo.
He owns, my guess would be, who would he own?
The Pirates.
The Pirates?
Yep. Yeah, no.
Mostly one of
and
the Cubs.
The Reds. And the Reds. Hits well against the Reds as well. Aaron Judge is a big player. Giancarlo Stanton's got a few in there. Yeah, interesting. Surprised. Carlos Santana against the Royals, 31 home runs. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy. Blackmon is the guy. I mean, anytime the Rockies come to town, you're like, all right, we should handle business. And we don't. And Blackmon hits 650. With 3 bombs in a 3-game set and just plays like he's Mickey Mantle for a weekend every time.
My dream would be in 10 years, Fernando Tatis Jr. is number one against on all 4 teams that aren't the Padres in the NL West.
Yep.
That would be my dream scenario.
I mean, I have bigger dreams than that, but that would be cool if that happened.
Not my number one dream, but that would be a dream
right.
scenario. Quickly, some fluctuation at the very top of the leaderboard this morning at the Farmers Insurance Open. First-round leader Kevin Yu, who shot 8 under and now is playing the tougher South course today, birdied the very tough first hole to take a 2-shot lead, but then bogeyed 2 and 3 and has fallen back into a 3-way tie with Patrick Cantlay and Ryo Hisatsune at 7 under. Both of those guys yet to tee off this morning. The feature group is on the course. Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau, and Max Homa, who are playing the North today. Finau and Schauffele both starting the day at 3 under. I think Max Homa bounced back nicely. He was 2 over on the front, but finished 2 under for the day as he defends his 2023 Farmers Insurance Open title. So,
cut line where do you think?
Right now it's projected at 2 under.
Okay.
My guess is that it'll either stay there or could creep up to 3 under by the end of the day, or down to 3 under by the end of the day.
Good. Are you going today?
I still don't know for sure.
Why?
I usually they put out it depends on whether or not I have a live photographer.
Oh, yeah.
And I can do my sports segment from out there, or if they have assigned, because we only have a limited number of live shot crews, and if they are already farmed out to other big breaking news stories, then I have to be in studio. So I'd like to stop
work earlier.
Doesn't change when I start or end work. It's just where I do my work.
Where you do
I
work.
would do it at the course,
and I may then go to the office.
Well, I may. Yeah. Well, either way. Like yesterday, I was there around 1:30, and then I was until about 4:30 when play ended, and I did my live shot, and then I went into the studio. Or I can just go, I can maybe stop by the course and then go to the studio, but I'm on live at 6, so I'd have to be there and prepared and stuff if I go in that direction.
It's important to prepare in TV, not so much in radio.
True.
It can be a little more freewheeling.
It's important in both, but the wheels go off much faster on television when you're not prepared. You don't have, your video edited and your scripts and your supers in and everything.
Sorry, everybody.
I'm not Ted Leitner. Now, Ted would just get up and talk for 5 minutes.
Did he?
So, well, they had video. I mean, he had producers who would give him some, but he ad-libbed essentially his entire sportscast and just ranted and riffed and went on. I've got exactly whatever, like 1 minute and 54 seconds. And there's like a 2 or 3 seconds of wiggle room either way, but they don't want you going shorter. They don't want you going longer. So I have to pretty much script it in to make sure that I'm on time. It's hard to just estimate, I need to talk for 1 minute and 54 seconds. So I have to write it out to make sure that I come in right where I'm supposed to, because if you go too long, show's over, you've torpedoed everything that everyone else is trying to do. So you got to be right on schedule on television.
Yeah, I mean, we have a clock and stuff. We have to be on schedule, but nobody, it doesn't really matter. We might get a slap on the wrist if we go a couple minutes over.
I mean, Craig might not be happy if we just talk for an extra 12 minutes and, bled right into the start of his show.
I feel pretty confident saying that will never happen.
That's a good point.
That will never, ever happen.
Craig might not be happy if we ended our show 4 minutes early and he had to start at 9:56 instead of 10 o'clock.
Exactly.
He's out there diligently.
It's only happened one time ever. We bled into Coach's show because we booked. The only time he could join us was Joey Votto.
Joey Votto.
And
That's right.
he was scheduled for 9:50 a.m.
Yeah.
We're
not keeping
our
it for
out
6
was
minutes.
9:55.
Yeah.
We're like, well, we're not doing a 5-minute interview. We're going to milk this thing for as long as we can.
Yep, that's right.
And we talked to him for, 15, 20 minutes.
That's right.
It's the only time that's ever happened, though.
We have a little breaking coaching news in the NFL again this morning. Get to that after our last check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by San Diego Mojo. Might find some slick roadways around various parts of the county thanks to some drizzle, light rain, scattered showers. Collision on northbound 805 at Market Street. It's over the right shoulder. Up ahead, another crash. This one is right at the northbound 15 connector. Vehicle wound up over the right shoulder embankment. Northbound 15 just past the 8. There is a 3-vehicle accident over to the right shoulder. Eastbound 78 past Emerald. Got a collision blocking the fast lane. Get ready because the San Diego Mojo Pro Women's Indoor Volleyball team is taking professional sports to a whole new level. Don't miss the non-stop excitement of indoor volleyball starting this February at Viejas Arena. Visit SanDiegoMojoVB.com today. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Maybe the worst head coaching job in the NFL is being filled, according to The Athletic. The Carolina Panthers are closing in on a deal to hire Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator, the famous Dave Canales, as their head coach, sources tell The Athletic.
Did a pretty good job with the Tampa Bay offense.
My only take here, because I have no real Dave Canales knowledge, is I feel bad for Baker Mayfield, who has been constantly unable to get any coaching consistency. I mean, Todd Bowles hopefully will be around and they'll run the same offense. But to have a good, successful season and then going to probably need another offensive coordinator now the next year, it's something that Baker's never really had, is that consistency from one season to the next.
Yeah, for sure.
As a quarterback.
Well, he's a free agent. Baker
That's true.
Yeah,
and they want to bring him back. But
they do.
That's true. He's not tied to the Bucs. Maybe he goes to the Panthers. They just drafted a quarterback with the #1 overall pick last year.
But I mean, and Baker, after the year he had, he's going to get paid. Everybody gets paid in the NFL, especially quarterbacks. So it doesn't really even matter how good you are sometimes in the NFL. Life of a backup quarterback, life of a starting quarterback, you can still make really, really good money. So be interesting to see what happens there. Yeah, I don't know anything about him other than Tampa Bay they played over their heads, I think, most of the season. Nobody really expected them to be in the playoffs, certainly, and I thought Baker had a really good year, and they've got some weapons. So, the guy did a good job with them. Now he's going to go be a head coach. We'll see how that works, but probably not the hottest name on the board out there, but it's the Carolina Panthers. You take what you get at that point.
We will make our AFC and NFC championship picks tomorrow.
How nervous are you?
Well, I need to make up huge ground just so I have a shot going into the Super Bowl. I'm that far behind after going, well, as you should be when you go 1-9 in your first 10 picks and there's 3 games left. It's hard to catch up in that situation. We'll go on tomorrow's odds. The Ravens have been gone from a 3-point favorite to a 4-point favorite in the last couple of days for the AFC Championship. So that line has moved. The bettors have moved that line toward Baltimore. And then the 49ers opened as 7-point favorites. They're now 7.5-point favorite. That's a big half point, though, in that game against the Detroit Lions. A push versus a loss, if it's a touchdown, that changes the equation a little bit if you're a point spread better for the NFC Championship. So
that game's so tough.
Some food to chew on until tomorrow when we make our picks.
Been wrestling with it. I mean, I know I'm probably going to...
You want to pick the Lions.
I want to pick the
know
Lions
you want to pick
so
the Lions.
badly.
And it's a little easier now, getting 7.5 versus
God, that's
7.
one of those where
It's
you
one
pick
of those,
the Lions
they lose
and then,
by 3 touchdowns.
and you're like, what was I
What
thinking?
was I thinking?
Of course the Niners blew them out.
Right.
And then conversely, if you pick the Niners, you're like, I knew it if it's a close game.
God, I hate it. I hate it. Fun for you, though, because you actually don't put real money on there. Imagine putting real scratch on these games. I guess I don't have to.
Radio pride is worth so much more than real money.
Adam's going to bring that up at our next contract negotiation. So, Paul, if you could delete that from the podcast, that'd be great.
All right, Craig is coming in next, and Braden. I think Annie is not here this morning. They will let you know what she's up to and everything else. Coming up next, for Paulie, for Woodsy, I'm Ben. Have a great rest of your Thursday from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan. So long.